The MTEC Sprint Series heads to its second round of the season after its opening round a month ago in Italy. For the second race, we head to Hungary and the Hungaroring with a field of GT4 class cars and their corresponding teams ready for a 120-minute event. The opponent may not be the other teams, it may not even be the track. The opponent is time, and outlasting the clock is the first goal of several for teams today. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian D'Cunha for the second round of the 2022 MTEC Sprint Series. Finian, welcome aboard. 120 minutes going on the clock in a couple minutes for about 14 teams and 28 drivers going for gold here in two separate categories.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see these guys get underway here. Imola, these guys actually put on a surprisingly good race. I was expecting to be a little bit lackluster on the on-track action. I was expecting, if anything, to come down to strategy. But there's a lot of back and forth throughout the entirety of the field and some mini exchanges for the lead. Expect something similar here with qualifying just getting underway.
Here's a look at the track here in Mclaren, Hungary. I just butchered that. 4.38 kilometers around this 16-turn circuit. It all starts with a long run down the front straightaway into that green first sector. Hairpin at turn 1, king through turn 2, Finian. Then it's a handful of fast-flowing corners before the backside of the track where things tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sector 2 especially, you can see a bunch of left-right turns. Very much a flowing section. You can easily make up a lot of time or lose a lot of time to that section. And then also the back part, ending the lap, very tight twisting corners. You may not see a lot of passing in that particular sector, but it's going to be very key to getting right, just putting your times down. Yeah,
14, 15, 16, a switchback section. Popular places to send the cars down the inside. A lot of contact in that flat area of the racetrack as well. But it's a fast-flowing circuit with a lot of places to get you if you're not paying attention. We'll head down to the racetrack now and get into qualifying. But again, Kyle Heyer joined by Finian D'Cunha. Here's a look at it again. Majors Garage and one of the major series events here. And have a look at some of the track facts here in Mclaren, Hungary. Population just about 7,000 people. And this track constructed in its current form back in 1986. And, of course, overtaking here is difficult because the track was dubbed Monaco without the buildings because of how tricky it can be to make passes here. And I've seen this in the past. Think back a couple months ago to the Washington, D.C. region series. They had a lot of trouble getting passes done on this racetrack, so there's certainly a lot of effort that's going to have to happen to make passes happen here. All right, moving down to the racetrack, and qualifying is underway. Gowan Racing currently on top of the board with a 153.377. That's Jack Hedgecock's behind the wheel right now. Joey Atterbury, second place in the number 2 car in the PG-13 Threat Level Midnight team. And you'll notice, looking at the timing and scoring, a lot of Aston Martins and a bunch of McLarens, but nobody else.
Yeah, it's pretty much lost the other two. We were already a little bit thin on the other two makes in the class, being the Porsche 718 and the BMW M4 GT4. Those cars, we only had one entry in the BMW, 2 in the Porsche, and it seems like those teams have not shown up. So it's not too surprising to see only McLarens and Aston Martins here. And if you're also wondering why there's no Mercedes, with that just being released, the admin said that they haven't had time to properly BOP the cars to their liking, so we may see the Mercedes appear next round. Not sure what the rules are going to be for guys switching over, but we could see some people jumping in the Mercedes as well for the next one.
I think Mercedes will be a popular choice once it is allowed in the series. It has some similar handling characteristics to the Aston Martin. The Aston might be a little bit softer around the edges. The Mercedes may be a little bit harder to drive, but I do think that Merc is going to be a car to have later in the season. Here's Bombshell Racing Team Odin, Kurt Crum behind the wheel. Think back to Imola about last month. Kurt Crum had some issues in that car, and that team ended up getting disqualified despite a very strong run in the first half of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, hopefully, I assume that they have both guys ready to go this round. And it's unfortunate, yeah, I can see Crum and Colin Dainer are both in the server, so definitely going to be able to avoid that problem for that camp. And it's unfortunate because they definitely had a top 5 car, but again, like I said, that DQ error, not having the second driver being able to join the server really cost them a lot of points. They're all the way back at 18th, so a lot of ground for them to make up.
So Kurt Crum, P4 as it stands. Jack Hedgecock, Tom Guest, your top 2. Joey Atterbury in 3rd. Then it's Bombshell Racing Team Odin with Crum. Complex Simworks with Matt Kingsbury behind the wheel. Love the livery on this car. Nice flowing lines and great pattern work on this number 21 Complex Simworks Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT4. Currently 5th with a 154.619. That was their best lap, was just the last one around. So we'll see if Matt can get and dig a little bit more. And these GT4 cars tend to take 3 or 4 laps to really get up to temperature with those tires. We'll see if Matt can coax a little bit more time out of it. Here's a look at the weather. Look at that track temp. Hot, almost 120 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky for some of these guys. Like I said, that flowing section, sector 2, particular, you're going to be leaning on the tires, the mechanical grip as much as possible. You're going to watch out because the track is so slippery. Have the chance, especially if you're pushing your tires too hard throughout the run. Could be a little slippery. May see some guys break traction in a couple corners if they're pushing their equipment too hard.
Kingsbury improves but doesn't move up any position, stays 5th. Sustin Martin with Lars Wheeler behind the wheel jumps up to 6th in the AAA to 154.683. Solid lap there. Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall is on track with Murphy Nichols in the McLaren 570S. And Riley Thompson takes Bombshell Racing Team 4 to 2nd with a 153.310. Great lap for Thompson.
Yeah, they're only off by 13 thousandths of a second for pole, so very close. And they still got another time left, although I think they might have just gotten off track there. I'm not sure. It's sometimes a little, it's kind of hard to tell for some of the corners where the line is, so they might be good, they might not be. They're only on lap 3, so they do have enough time to get another lap in, so definitely keep an eye on the 71 to get pole.
Yeah, you talk about that incident limit. 20x is your limit, and you are not going to have a lot of opportunities to go off track here. With that incident limit, you really got to keep all 4 tires on the black stuff today. Pinto jumps up to 4th in the number 25 for Spark. DriveSVR.com LLM machine jumps up into P4, a 153.670 for the number 25.
Here, the interesting to note, the 003 big DNRG team, it looks like they were disqualified.
Yeah, there is qualifying conduct scrutiny on, so if they were getting a little bit aggressive with how they were warming the tires, they could have gotten themselves into some trouble. Here's the Penguin RC Simulations car, the LLM Lone Star team, with Blake Reynolds behind the wheel. Big slide out of the rear here. They are late comers to qualifying, maybe waiting for the weather to improve just a little bit, but now they're going to have to get on track and lay down a time. The 01 had a lot of success back at Imola a couple weeks ago, and I think they're going to look to repeat some of that success here today.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing, waiting on the track conditions to improve. You see it all the time in F1, drivers waiting for the last second to get on a track. You make a mistake, though, you lose opportunities, so you have to be very careful and not, being sure you can get all 4 of your laps right, because you never know when you might need it. You may put in a bank lap, you may try to push the envelope a little bit more, you might make some mistakes, and then give yourself up on a solid lap, so don't want to take yourself out of the running just yet, but currently working their way through the second half of the lap. Last car to put one of the last cars to put a time down.
I mentioned that the Penguin RC Simulations car ran well at Imola. Yeah, they won the race after starting in 6th, and it didn't look likely based on they were running up in the top 3, but then the last couple moments came around and drivers getting disqualified for missing pit windows and that sort of thing. Think back to the 88 with their issues with Crum being stuck on the road. And Blake Reynolds was able to take that car all the way back to the checkers.
Yeah, very
with teammate Sarah Robb. Yeah,
I was gonna say very solid run. I think with once Blake Reynolds got into the car, just put down some solid laps, no mistakes out of that camp too. And as he comes flying across the line, he'll start his first attempt. I think we'll only get maybe, let's see, what's it? I think we may only get 3 laps though, not 4, but may not even need all of them.
Yeah, no time recorded. This is, again, his first flying lap. Down the hill here at the Hungaroring, long left-hand turn. But then you get into this really fun flowing section. You can get very aggressive up on the curbs, and this Aston loves the curbing. Whoa, go ahead.
71's coming across the line just now. Did not improve on it. They're starting their final time lap.
Into turn 1 for Bombshell Racing Team Thor, going back to the 01. Love this middle sector. Lots of flowing corners. Then you have this very tight chicane. Easy to get yourself an off track here on driver's left, but Reynolds navigates that very nicely.
Also very dirty on the exit as well. A lot of dirt thrown onto the track.
This Aston is just so glued to the road, and everybody really seems to enjoy the way this car drives, sounds, and accelerates and brakes. It just does everything the way you want it to do. Had a chance to talk with Kenton Cook, who drives this car and owns a team in the Pirelli GT4 America Series, and says despite this car being significantly faster overall around a lap, he says it does pretty much exactly what you'd expect it to do, and that the simulation is a pretty high quality. Now, the lap time differential could be for a variety of reasons, including the modeling of the tire and modeling of the racetrack surface, but the dynamics are there. See if Reynolds can go to the top of the board. They started 6th at Imola. Can they start better this time around? Need a 1:53.8 to go faster, and a 1:53.804 it is, but they will be a couple thousandths, 5 thousandths behind Murphy Nichols in the Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall car, and puts them 7th right now.
Considering that was the first lap, I think definitely some more time on the table, so I kind of expect this car to be in at least the top 5 by the time everything's done.
Yeah, keeping our eye also on Bombshell Racing Team Thor car of Riley Thompson, currently in the green in the final corner. Can Thompson go faster in the number 71 across the line for Thompson? A 1:53.280, and to the top of the board, provisional pole for Riley Thompson and Bombshell Racing Team.
Yeah, and barely by 17 thousandths of a second to the good this time around. So very close fight for pole. Was just able to squeak out a few hundredths of a lap for the lap time, but managed to get it done. See again, Blake Reynolds, the pace improving in this car. If he can try to get that car, if not in the top 5, maybe close to pole. Jumps over the curbs.
Yeah, chasing the car all the way to the edge of the road through the chicane. And again, the Aston is very well balanced through some of these higher speed corners. It likes to kind of lean on the suspension. And that's something that you see a lot in GT4 classes, cars that kind of utilize their suspension more. As you start moving up into different classes, GT3, GTLM, and so on and so forth, the cars get so stiffly sprung that they really don't like bouncing across curbs. In the GT4 class, they're very compliant, and that means that you can really trust the car. You can feel that roll, and it loads up very, very nicely and gives you a great feeling of confidence. It's not as sketchy as you might experience in a faster, higher downforce car. But Blake Reynolds trying to go a little quicker this time through. He's up a 10th in turn 16. Can he bring that back to the line and leapfrog at least Murphy Nichols and tie their starting position from Imola across the line? This time a 1:53.757, and yes, 6th place for the Penguin RC Aston Martin. No,
Solid
7th, Kurt Crum.
Yeah, I was watching Kurt Crum coming through. BRT Odin, that's the sister car to Riley Thompson, up into 6th place, taking that away from the 0-1, and they're going to be done for their times. Blake Reynolds continuing on one more flying lap. This is going to be his last attempt.
Trying to go another 53 thousandths quicker. That's what they need to grab 6th place back. Difference between row 3 and row 4, probably not that big of a deal in a 2-hour race, but they would already be on a pretty good path to repeating what they did at Imola if they could start in P6. Remember, they weren't the fastest car at Imola either. They had a little bit of attrition help them get up forward. But we've seen time and time again that being the fastest car doesn't guarantee that you win the race.
Yeah, especially in a 2-hour race, a lot of things can happen. So you have to make sure you get everything right, make the least amount of mistakes, which is easier said than done. As we definitely saw at Imola, as several different leaders coming up to the front, then having a mistake or some sort of issue, taking them out of contention, and then the 0-1 coming, rising to the top. See, something similar can happen. We'll see where they end up starting this race, though. Still some time on the board.
Oh, right up to the edge of the road, using every inch of rumble strip, but they kept it on course. And up 0.4 of a second into the final sector.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, it will be. If he can make 0.4 faster, he would be the pole sitter.
Saw 0.5 for a second, down to 0.3. He's got to get a good run out of this corner, and then the final corner coming onto the straightaway. He looks like he's losing just a little bit of time, though.
Can't get too much out of it. You're going to slide the rear. Final corner for Blake Reynolds. Can he go to the top of the board here? He's going to be very, very close for Penguin RC Simulations, and Blake Reynolds across the line, a 1:53.392, 3rd place, row 2 for Blake Reynolds. Strong run there.
Yeah, really strong. Unfortunately, I think if you actually timed it to start a little earlier, I think the 4th lap potentially might have had a better shot. But hey, top 3 is not bad, especially in an endurance race. I think generally in that part of the field, first 2-3 rows, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah, not a bad start, certainly. Qualifying is complete. Your pole sitter was going to be the Bombshell Racing Team Thor. Riley Thompson got it done. Gowan Racing with Jack Hedgecox behind the wheel. Then Penguin RC. LLM Lone Star, NRG Bill, DriveSVR.com, PG-13 Threat Level Midnight, BRT Odin, BRT Heimdall, Complex Simworks, and Sustin Martin, the rest of your top 10. Then it's Kinetic Racing, MTEC 61 with Josh Thomas behind the wheel, Sector 5 Blackball, Shift Esports, and Big D NRG with Stuart Elder behind the wheel in qualifying. Gap between first and last was 2.9 seconds. Gap between first and 13th was 1.8, so that 003 has some time to find here.
Yeah, definitely a lot, although they're going to be starting from the back, so some traffic just shift through if they want to try to see if they can get themselves to the front.
Heading down to the racetrack here, we're going to have a little bit of time to work through our starting grid here. Again, a full, well, half of a pace lap here to set the grid. Again, 14 cars, not a ton, so that means that there's probably going to be a fair level of aggression in the opening laps of this race, Finian. When there's less cars, you just feel like it's not quite as consequential to make big moves.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big thing to watch out for, especially in Sector 1. You're looking at the turn right there, turn 3 and turn 4, and then heading towards turn 5. A lot of carnage typically happens. You can see turn 5 right there. It was perfect. It's almost like we timed the B-roll. A lot of carnage can happen through those set of corners when everyone's so close together, guys side by side fighting for position, because, as you mentioned, passing not the easiest thing for this race. So when everyone's close together, it's the easiest time you can make those passes happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see 1 or 2 guys spinning off the track due to some contact.
And remember that incident limit, 20x. Keep the car on the road. That's going to be a big topic of discussion once we get past that first hour across your different teammates. You got to make sure you keep everyone in the game and in the zone when it comes to staying on the road and making sure you can maximize your points and your position. Heading down to the racetrack here, let's have a look at our starting lineup here on row number 1. Kicking things off, Riley Thompson in the number 71 for BRT Thor. He'll be on the pole alongside Jack Hedgecox in the number 18. He will roll off in second for Gowan Racing. Row number 2, Blake Reynolds in the 0-1. Tom Guest in the number 99 in 4th for NRG Bill. Row number 3 is going to be Rui Pinto. Joey Atterbury in the 25 and 2 in 5th and 6th. Row number 4, Kurt Crum, Murphy Nichols in the 88 and 55. Then row 5, Finian, Matt Kingsbury, and Lars Wheeler in the 888.
Yeah, they're running out our final 2 rows. Josh Thomas in the 61 Kinetic Racing Machine. Sector 5, the 007 in the 12th place. Moving on to 13, Chip Esports, Seth Rawls, and 14, Stuart Elder, rounding out your field of 14 cars.
All right, 14 cars, 7 rows of GT4 machines, 2 different classes. The white background numbers are your Pro-Am class, the orange are your Am. Green flag flies, 2 hours on the board. The MTEC Sprint Series is green, 4 wide as we come past the start-finish line to kick things off towards turn 1. Riley Thompson is clear behind them, though it's a big mess off into turn number 1. Now 3 wide for the top spot. Gowan Racing getting swarmed. Here comes the Penguin RC car to the inside. Big slide for the 18. They gather it up and they continue out of turn 1. All clean and green so far.
And they came out of turn 1 still 3 wide as they're heading down to turn number 3. 3 wide in the midfield. These guys are going to sort it out. It's not going to work as it gets very tight after these few turns.
Yeah, Rui Pinto. Oh, trouble. Oh! One car spins. It's the PG-13 car. Threat level midnight. Joey Atterbury. And oh, no, more spinning. More trouble. Murphy Nichols loops it and gathers up a couple cars as well. So, oh, there's some big damage.
Yeah, Matt Kingsbury around in the wall. You can see off to the right-hand side. He's mentioned big damage to another Aston Martin.
Wow, some big damage
Dale
there.
Green.
Early.
Dale Green's the damaged car in the midfield.
Big issues early in the going. Blake Reynolds leads the way, though, up front. Riley Thompson, Tom Guest, and the 888, the Aston Martin car, up a whole bunch of spots in the 888, up to 4th place.
Yeah, remember this car was actually leading in the first part of the race at Imola last time out. So they did a good job in the early going, not so much in the second stint. They were kind of on the back foot then, but currently sitting in 4th, see if they can try to move up. But Hedgecox in mind mounting the pressure for that 4th place spot.
Tucking in back behind now. Gowan Racing, Hedgecox got kind of swarmed on either side through turn 1, had a big moment. Everybody gathered it back up, but that was a scary moment on cold tires especially. It can really catch you out. Dale Green is the one with the biggest damage on this car. Let's go back and see if we can see exactly what happened to kick all this off.
There's Atterbury spinning into the wall right there off the side of the track. Oh, look at the Mclaren just got loose and self-spun.
Yeah, I think that was Murphy Nichols that initially spun around, and then when he kind of spun across the road, everyone kind of scattered for position, and that's what led the 007 to be stuck on the side of the road. Reloading timing here, a little bit of lag this afternoon, so bear with me one moment before we head back live. There we are. So Blake Reynolds leads the way, and Jack Hedgecox in the 18, back in 5th at the moment. And we're trying to work over the 888 and trying to get back by him. I'm not sure he's got the pace here early in the going, but it looks like he's keeping touch with him.
That's not live.
Thank you.
There you go.
Constant replay mode.
It's really hard to tell when
it's like watching on TV for real. Everything's delayed 20 seconds.
We want to be accurate in real life here at TV.
Riley Thompson, though, lost the initial lead. Had a good start, but then got swarmed by the Aston through the first corner, and then Blake Reynolds took it and ran.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson's not let off, though, is in pursuit of that Aston Martin. Again, the big thing is going to be how much can he keep it in behind. And if anything, does Riley Thompson want to lead, or is he just going to kind of sit in behind, ride the 0-1?
Long race here. Now, Kingsbury and Dale Green have been out. They are still off the track. The PG-13 threat level midnight car, Joey Atterbury, is about 16 seconds back from Murphy Nichols. Now, Murphy, I think, got away with just some minimal damage to that car, so they should be able to continue. Stuart Elder avoided most of that. So the top 9 cars have gotten away unscathed, but remember, it's a 2-hour race, so what's the rush? Let's just get into a rhythm and click off some laps for a little while.
Yeah, here comes Hedgecock with another run. Actually managed to get past Wheeler before. Oh, and a big dive to the inside turn one. Oh, it's going to be a little bit too much. Going to take third. I think that was by accident, but it's going to get it done.
Here comes Matt Kingsbury out of the pits right ahead of the Shift Esports car, as well as the Kinetic Racing number 61. So Matt Kingsbury's back on track, a lap down. We go back to Gowan Racing, and whoa, a little bit of contact here, some side to side.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was on purpose or just didn't like that dive down to turn one, but guess either way he's going to get that spot back. Hedgecock still up 1, up into 4th.
And for the top spot, Thompson and Reynolds were going at each other for a little while.
Yeah, this battle is definitely not going to be order again. As you mentioned, it is a long race, so this back and forth, nose to tail may not last for a whole much longer, depending on which car is going to push their stuff too hard. But I'm curious for Thompson if they want to take the lead, or if they're just going to sit in behind, maybe save their stuff, or if what the game plan is for the 71.
Well, a moment ago, he really looked like he was trying to grab it away. I'm not thinking that he's going to be super patient behind the 0-1. We know that Blake Reynolds and Sarah Robert very capable behind the wheel, but this is the one that's going to pop off before it won't. Guest and Hedgecock's nose to tail and running all the way to the edge of the road, trying to run each other down. Aston versus Aston.
And let's see here, Hedgecock's been getting some really good runs out of the final corner, making runs down into turn 1. Ooh, and Guest dives it in deep, almost turns Thompson in the penultimate corner.
A little bit defensive there by Tom Guest to try to go up the inside of Thompson again. Ooh. And Hedgecock's trying to square off the corner and get throttled down, but Guest gets a solid exit regardless in that silver number 99.
Yeah, that exit out of the final corner is so important because this is your primary passing opportunity down into turn 1. It's the easiest one. There's a few other corners you can pass, but you're going to get most of the heavy lifting done here. See Hedgecock going around the outside of turn 1 and 2. Going to potentially have the inside line into turn 3, but he's trying to fight. He's got barely a wheel across. Guess pushing him to the left-hand side of the track. Here comes Hedgecock's about to dive.
He's got overlap, and he's going to actually clear the number 99, so take that position back. And now Guest is fighting off the 888 Sustin Martin team car. And it's right now it's McLaren, or excuse me, Aston McLaren, Aston McLaren. Oh, really good run for Wheeler and jumps to the left. Tom Guest stays defensive and tucked tight around the inside. I'll tell you what though, Hedgecock has found another wind. He is right up behind Thompson fighting for second place now.
Yeah, it started in second place, but ended up losing most of the positions back into 5th. After the first few turns, just could not get the car to handle well with both tires, ran off the track, lost all the spots. But now that he's got him up to temp, he's making some really strong headwind. Might get past Thompson, potentially Reynolds at the pace he's looking at.
And it all came down to that first couple of corners and how it kind of recycled the lead as everyone was kind of skittering around on cold tires. The 18 pops out of line on Thompson, and Thompson leaves the space to the inside for the 18 to have. He wants drivers left for the next turn, though. That's turn 14.
Interesting thing that Hedgecock actually didn't really dive. He kind of tried to fake out Thompson, and Thompson kind of fell for it and gave him the space, so he made the move, but that's going to cost him. Here comes Guest, though, trying around the outside. Hedgehog's going to still throw it up the inside.
Oh, he sailed it down there. He's got overlap now. He's fully side by side with Thompson. Now it's McLaren versus Aston Martin. I think I'd rather have the Aston for this battle.
Although the McLaren's got the draft from the car up ahead, Reynolds giving him the tow. And Thompson barely going to have overlap, but Hedgehog's going to have the line down into turn 1.
Hedgecock slides across the nose of Thompson at corner exit. Will take the spot back. We're only 9 minutes into this, and it's gotten very spicy for second. Can Thompson jam it back down the inside? Tom Guest has a great view of this perspective. Trying to figure out which lane is going to go. Big moment for the 18 on exit. And Tom's going to try to follow him through very tight to the back of Thompson.
Almost pit maneuvered Riley Thompson there. That was very close. And Lars Wheeler in behind trying to make a move. This top 5, top 6 battle is fantastic to watch. Someone might want to remind these guys it's an endurance race. Because they're not driving like it's an endurance race.
No, they're not, but the aggression level is going to be extremely high because, again, with a small field, everyone knows that the consequences for making a mistake are smaller. You don't have to pass as many cars on your recovery drive. And maybe that's not something you think about consciously, but I think everybody is a little sendier in a race with 14 cars versus one with 30.
And Reynolds, poor, that last corner was very poor. Lost a few tens. Hedgecock's making make up a lot of time. Great run through the corner, runs a little bit wide.
But how much was that an off track there, and is that already stacking up for the number 18? You're going to have to pay attention to that incident count, but he is certainly putting the pressure back on Blake Reynolds to the inside, opens the door. Reynolds leaves the space there and kind of gets swarmed.
And Hedgecock's got a little sideways back end, was kicking out as he's trying to get a run off the corner. Surprised how aggressive he made that. I thought he would wait for the straightaway. Speaking of which, here he comes though with the run. Reynolds taking him to the wall, going to take the inside. Hedgecock's moving to the left-hand side and a big dive on the brakes.
Can he outbrake him? He did, but now he's going to lose the mid-corner speed here. Can he keep the overlap? That was a great run for both drivers now. Reynolds does not have the preferred line. I think he's going to lose this lead here.
He's going to try to keep it, though. It's really hard. This next corner really tight, especially for the driver on the inside. You have to let off.
Had to lift. Someone had to. But Thompson and Guest. Oh, yeah. Riley Thompson's got a great view of this. Oh, he missed the corner. And here comes the 99.
Yeah, Guest try to put a car up the inside. It's so tough because you want to, but you know that it's not going to work out well. So you have to restrain yourself. And for Guest, they couldn't make an opportunity out of that.
Battle for the lead is hot here. Only 11 minutes in. Still a long way to go. But Reynolds loses the lead to Jack Hedgecock. So our front three, as they qualified, at least the top three are still in the top three, just kind of mixed up a little bit. Thompson was the pole sitter. Reynolds started third. Hedgecock's was up there in the mix.
Yeah, actually, speaking of which, Lars Wheeler, the highest moving driver in the race so far, started in 10th, up in a 5th, so great run for Aston Martin.
And there's Crum for the Bombshell Racing Team Odin car. A little bit surprised that we didn't see Crum qualify a bit better. They got a long way to go, and they remember the points that they sacrificed last time out because of that issue with Dainer not being able to make it into the session. Crum had to stay on course. Ended up costing them a chance at a win as well.
Seeing Hedgecock's, he lost a little bit of traction off of turn 1. I'm noticing that car getting a little squirrelier and squirrelier, like he's pushing the car a little too far. Reynolds had died to the inside.
Side by side for the top spot between the front two. Reynolds and Hedgecock's again trading positions. The 18 car slides across the nose again, hangs onto it. I don't think Reynolds is done yet, though.
No, definitely not. I think what we could see is him just trying to mount some pressure because I think the 18 of Hedgecock, I think he's pushing that car a little bit too hard.
Burning off the tires potentially. Remember, we looked at the weather.
You can see he's losing traction on the outside of the corner. Reynolds now look up the inside here.
Into the chicane. That's tough to do side by side. Oh, the 18 had to jump the curb. This is great racing, but really aggressive early in the going. Almost too aggressive, I'd bet. Will these guys find themselves making more contact?
Yeah, well, if they don't make contact, they definitely reeled everyone back in. Riley Thompson's knocking on the door, ready to pounce.
Oh, look at the 99.
Oh!
Tom Guest sails up the inside for third and grabs the spot from Thompson.
And Thompson, though, trying to bounce back, couldn't quite get the run off the corner he needed. He's going to look back to the outside. Guest almost cut him off.
A little awkward there. Off into turn 14. Thompson had to jump on the binders. He flashed the headlights, didn't appreciate the send from Tom. But Guest made it work, grabbed third place away, and the front two will get another moment to battle amongst themselves.
Great battling, a lot of give and take with these drivers. Some, though, probably taking a little bit more take, and I'm sure some drivers probably giving too much, feel like they're giving too much.
Cross the line to complete lap number 7 rather. We're on lap 8 of approximately 63. Here comes the 0-1 again. A great run to the inside, but not enough overlap to make the pass. Here he comes now, tucks it in tight.
Yeah, Hedgecock's brake a little bit too late, ran wide in the corner, but was able to get a decent exit off. But it's all about that pressure, mounting the pressure up on front. A nudge from Reynolds.
So much pressure, they're going to be making diamonds off of each other here. Hedgecock's really defending, but he's been a little frantic and a little wild watching. Oh, Blake Reynolds climbs up on the curb and a miss apex, and Reynolds sweeps back to the inside. Hedgecock's out wide, and around the outside now goes Blake Reynolds. What a pass.
Yeah, Reynolds set him up like a sorry, not set up. He played him like a fiddle heading towards that corner. That's a fantastic job. Faked him to the outside, cost him to go wide. And Tom Guest moving his way up to second place. I didn't see him get past Thompson. Speaking of which, Thompson now working the inside. Hedgecock contact.
They touch. A little bit of paint trading here. Good thing these cars are durable enough to take a hit or two. But sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, I think. I bet you the Hedgecock feels a lot like a ball right now, getting bounced around, and Wheeler through into fourth place past Riley Thompson.
Yeah, muscling his Aston Martin on through, so Aston Martin's occupying the top 4 spots.
Blake Reynolds gets a moment to breathe.
Probably not going to be for too long, because I'm sure Guest is now going to be approaching him closely.
I think he'd rather, well, I was going to say Guest hasn't been quite as aggressive, but I think that's not true. He's been jamming it up the inside just as heavy as Hedgecock's was. So Reynolds, Tom Guest, Hedgecock's your top 3. And look behind, Riley Thompson has dropped steadily from the top spot back to 5th. So not going the right direction despite a couple of opportunities that he's used to move forward a few positions.
Yeah, everyone getting a little bit of separation now, though. Thompson trying to make a move on Lars Wheeler.
And Kurt Crum kind of sitting back here waiting in the wings. We hadn't talked a lot about Kurt today.
I'm surprised. I was expecting him to potentially make a move on one of these guys earlier, especially with the way they're fighting up here. But I guess, as you mentioned, he's just kind of sitting in the wings, letting this play out, saving his stuff for later.
Long race, no need to go for it now, but no one else told the front runners that. Thompson dropping a wheel at the exit of the chicane. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that Crum is fighting understeer right now. That car is not looking extremely adept at taking some of the faster corners. It's kind of sliding the nose. Rui Pinto right behind is looking a little better in the 25. Haven't talked a lot about Rui yet this race. 5th back to 7th, so going the wrong direction here. But has a couple drivers on the hit list coming up, and Thompson pops out of line for a moment, but not able to get a run on the 888.
Yeah, and I'm a bit surprised that Crum is fighting understeer, because the sister car of Riley Thompson, I'm surprised because that car looks like it's handling a lot better, but you would expect these guys, probably be sharing setups. So it's a bit surprising to see. I guess maybe it's Kurt's driving style. Maybe it's not suiting the McLaren, or at least at this particular track. But yeah, after riding on it with him for about a lap, it is noticeable that his understeer is pretty bad. It's hurting his runs on the straightaways, especially on the front straightaway where he's losing a lot of time.
Into turn 1. Thompson tucks in tight. Talk about the advantages of the McLaren versus the Aston. The McLaren typically does better at tracks with a little bit more straightaway. It's got legs that, despite the Aston's big engine and big sound, the Aston is really better suited to the tight and twisty tracks, which is not something you'd expect. A lot of back and forth here in this over-under section. The front 3 have driven away.
Yeah, I think between Thompson and Wheeler battling, I think it's causing just a little bit of separation, probably to the frustration of all these drivers in the second pack. Although with the way the leaders are about to probably start battling, they may have a chance to get back up.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Reynolds has pressure again from Tom Guest, and Hedgecox is back and maybe feeling a little violated from the previous time these guys raced together a couple laps ago. They really got on top of it. Hedgecox right in the mix with Guest, and not pulling punches this race. Certainly has the aggression up, and it's worked out for him so far. I mean, he's had the lead for a few laps. Just needs to get up there and stay there.
Getting really close in the penultimate corner. Hedgecox potentially looking at making another move. On the front straightaway, going to be trying to attack Tom Guest.
I think Guest is a pretty dangerous car to have up in the mix because he has been as aggressive as the 18, but hasn't been as frantic looking. But a little bit more, I guess, planned in terms of the moves that he's making. A little bit less spontaneous. This battle for 4th continues to be very, very good. A couple Bombshell Racing Team cars running together here. The 71 and the 88 nose to tail.
Thompson still trying to work on Lars Wheeler. Wheeler is showing no holes in his defense.
For the top spot, here comes Tom Guest, though. And a push from Hedgecox to race leader Blake Reynolds. Whoa, spin and slide. Oh, he's going to tag the 99 as well. And everybody's going to come to a stop, and here comes the rest of the field into the mix, just squeezing by.
Ooh, that could have been really ugly.
Almost was. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, the surprise move from Guest was able to get alongside, and he looked like he lost it there, but I got a great run out of the corner, enough to get alongside.
They get to the corner, and I think just a little bit of a punt from the 18 right on corner entry. Tags the 0-1. The 99 does a great job trying to slow down. And then the 18, maybe feeling bad, slams the brakes and almost collects another group of cars. They got out of that one okay, just with a lot of track position lost. Reynolds back to 10th. The 18 back to 6th. Tom Guest leads the way by 2.3 seconds. Now the battle for second is between Lars Wheeler and Riley Thompson.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys now are going to be trying to work together now just to catch a single car of Guest up ahead and make sure he can't escape. But although I can definitely see, let's see, I feel like we could see the 18 of Hedgecox potentially getting a penalty coming his way. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, just the slightest touch, but that's all it takes. And then stopping right in the middle of the track on corner exit. That was almost another disaster waiting to happen. Here comes Thompson.
Ooh, big dive to the inside. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to slow it down in time. He managed to get it done. Great job parked it on the apex. Going to finally get past the 888.
I think Wheeler might have overbraked there. Crum almost ran into the back of him. And it made Thompson look like he sailed in super deep, but he still made the corner. So wondering if the 888 was a little early on the brakes there. Some of these corners, there's not a lot to use as braking markers. There are markers around the track, but they're far enough apart that it's pretty easy to make a mistake. So move the 888 back to 3rd. Kirk Crum is now assembling a group of cars behind him. Pinto and Jack Hedgecox, who again, we know his aggression level's been high and he's on a recovery drive now.
Got close to the back end of Pinto as they approach the chicane.
Brake lights flashing mid-corner there. He needed to keep off the 25.
Yeah, it actually almost got to the inside of the 25 for ES.
25 of Pinto looking pretty defensive now, trying to keep the 18 behind him. I'm not sure how good of a strategy that is. We've seen how aggressive Hedgecox has been. I'm not sure that I would be putting my car in the way of this 18. Maybe let him go.
Oh, it looked like he was about to throw it up the inside of the 25 regardless. Yeah, they come on in the straightaway now. So Hedgecox can kind of compromise things just a little bit, but looking at the lap times, so I guessed a 154.5. Thompson 154.2. So, and that was with a pass into turn 1.
And
so
guess last lap was his best of the race, and it wasn't even. I guess it was Riley Thompson's best lap. He just hadn't had a clean one prior to this, which is pretty shocking. To wonder about that incident limit. Look at the 18 down the inside of the 25, rooting and rumping the 25 car up out of the way.
Already carnage in this corner approaching. Doesn't look like we'll see anything this time by.
I love this next turn over the curb here on the left. Hedgecox keeps it on the road, but you can really take a big chunk of the curbing there and really carry some good speed. Big slide there for the 18. Going back to the weather again, I'm not sure how much tire they're eating up, but it seems like a lot with how much he's sliding around. Track temperature still over 100 degrees. It was almost 120 when the green flag dropped.
Yeah, so track cooling down. Drivers, I'm sure, are going to be enjoying that. A little bit of extra grip to work with. Not a whole lot, but something.
Getting a lot of these like 4-car battles, right? Like it's been moving around inside the top 10, but now it's behind the 88 of Kurt Crum. And the 888 for that matter. Thompson has built a bit of a gap back to the 888 and now is beginning to eat into Tom Guest's lead.
I guess looks like his tires are starting to struggle. He ran really wide on the exit of the penultimate corner, so I imagine his car, the front tires especially, not looking too pretty.
You have to wonder about that, right? Because we're not even halfway through our first run. So if you're already eating up tires, you're going to have a really bad time by the end of the stint. Around the first hour.
Yeah, actually it looked like Guest was just about a 10th quicker than Thompson last time through.
Big dive by Crum and a bit of a stack up into turn 1. Over under by the 25 of Pinto.
Yeah, Crum went for the dive, couldn't quite seal the deal though he's going to try into turn number 3.
Opens the door for the 18 though, the Gowan Racing Aston. Woo. Pinto stays left. There's that curb jump everyone's waiting for. Crum trying to go the long way around. Here comes Pinto trying to fill the mirrors. Great racing here inside the top 5.
Yeah, you gotta be careful though when you turn to the outside. You can open up the inside. Speaking of which, Crum trying to look up the inside of Wheeler. Couldn't quite get there, but he's mounting a lot of pressure on that 888.
Battle for the lead is still separated by about 2.5 seconds. This is the best battle on the racetrack for third.
It definitely seems like Wheeler is holding up this group of cars. It seems like all 3 are potentially faster than him. All bunched up nose tail.
Yeah, 3 Astons ganging up on the Mclaren though. Crum is definitely struggling to get by. Trouble, car spinning. Seth Rawls around turn 14. Tags Murphy Nichols as well.
Interesting what happened here. I think these guys were in their own little group.
Yeah, well, I wonder if there was contact that led to this. I think that, he just disconnected for a moment. Murphy Nichols gets into the back of him and then he gets re-tagged again. That was just unfortunate. One of those sim racing things. And for third place, Crum grabs it from the 888. The 25 gets a boot from the 18. Hands on today, huh?
Yeah, Kurt Crum almost got a bump from Lars Wheeler. And here comes Wheeler, speaking of which, going to try to look up the inside. Can't quite get there. It's going to be Crum that slams the door shut, and then Mclaren will finally get the spot.
Really has been elbows out today. A lot of pushing and shoving and big dives. You just have to make big moves here. You can't just very slowly and easily make your way by like you could at a place like Watkins Glen where you're working on them lap after lap, corner after corner. It's if you get the opportunity, you have to go for it. Seth Rawls going down another position. Stuart Elder gets by, so does Joey Atterbury around the outside. That's an off track. That'll count towards that incident limit. Rawls trying to grab any positions back after that spin and contact with Nichols.
And Atterbury too, also trying to get back spots after his spin on the opening lap. Still got a lot of spots to make up.
And without a chance of a full course yellow for real, you're in a position where, you know, your mistake is going to haunt you for the rest of the race. I don't really think, without some extending circumstances, that you're going to be able to win if you spin out this race. You're going to have to be nearly perfect. That wasn't the case at Imola, but oh, big dive by the 18 and almost knocks the 25 out of the way.
Yeah, that was. I'm curious if that was aggression or if he just ended up braking a little bit too late and was diving out to make sure he didn't hit anyone.
Oof.
Might have been a slight combination of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think. Pinto back down the inside. Ooh. Fair play. They haven't made significant contact yet, despite how aggressive this racing has been. But this is just what I love about GT4 and TCR racing in iRacing, is that you just have to go so hard that it just ends up being super fun to watch.
Yeah, it really does. These guys are giving it their all every single corner, every single lap. Crum running a little bit wide there. Wheeler trying to make some ground up on the inside, but couldn't quite get there. So now see Crum after muscling his way up. We remember how we were talking about him being so quiet, not in a whole lot of battles. Back in run 7th at 1.6, and then now up into 3rd.
Joey Atterbury passed the big D energy car of Stuart Elder, the green McLaren. So trade those positions back. And then we switch immediately back to the Gowan Racing and DriveSVR.com LLM fight. Big moment, big slide for the 18. Tank slapper that he gathers up and brings the fight to the 888. Sustin Martin team. Oof. No challenge for the lead yet. Thompson's still 2.8 back.
Yeah, he's been kind of managing in that gap. He's been making some inroads one lap and then losing a little bit another lap. So that gap's been kind of stabilized at around 2.5 seconds. Meanwhile, back here you see Wheeler running a little bit wide. Hedgecock's keeping it a little tighter at the apex. He's going to have a slight rundown.
He's got preferred line here. Yeah, this is going to be a good turn for the 18. If he can keep the nose in, he can't. Opens the door
Wheeler.
for Pinto.
Yeah, Wheeler giving no room, and Hedgecock almost runs back to Wheeler, and here comes Pinto, as you mentioned, trying to make a move on the inside, couldn't quite get there.
I think everybody blew the corner that time. Everyone just got in there too hot, and nobody really came out with a benefit. But all this is now happening collectively about 7 seconds behind the race leader as they've been fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, they've been fighting each other really hard, arguably too hard, in probably some of the drivers' minds. Oh, that's not going to work. Hedgecock's big dive. Oh, and going to door Wheeler. That was a send and a half.
Yeah, big dive into one. We've seen that a lot. It's a heavy braking zone, a very tight second gear corner. But give the spot back to the 18. And start thinking about when you're going to make your pit stop, when you get into that pit window. Still have a little ways to go, so it's not an immediate concern, but it's something you want to put on the radar.
It's definitely something these guys are going to have to think about, especially if you're struggling behind traffic, if you're behind a silver car, if you feel like you can overtake them, you've got to overtake them in the pits.
Pinto with a run on the 888, stays in line, thought about it. I think they burned up the rubber enough at this point that being that aggressive is going to take a little bit more work.
I think we finally have a chance to breathe just a little bit. Blake Reynolds working on the back of Joshua Thomas as he's been starting his recovery drive after his spin.
Yeah, here's a look at the 0-1. Now, you documented how he's coming back through the field. He led 8 laps in this race, almost essentially half of what we've already run, which is hard to believe. It sounds like we haven't talked about it in a while. But after that spin off the nose of the 18, he's gathered it back up. No damage to speak of. But I think the only real damage is to their progress.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he's only 13 seconds back. I mean, that is a decent amount, but considering completely spun out, could be a lot worse.
Big power slide by the Kinetic Racing car. Josh Thomas getting after it.
Let off a lot of speed. Here comes Reynolds. Have a look to the inside. You can actually see the next group of cars up ahead, so he has a chance to catch back up and battle them, gain a few spots there as he gets back past the 61 car.
Well, Crum and Hedgecox were side by side for a second through turn 1, so I think we're about to see another potential pass here. Thompson continues to bleed off about 2 or 3 tenths a lap to Tom Guest. So the battle right now is for third.
And before exit here, Hedgecox a bump to the back of Kurt Crum. Yeah, that was interesting for Crum. He ended up just understeering. We were talking about that car understeering a bit in some corners. It looked like he was running okay for the last couple laps or so, but just understeered off into turn 4. And then Hedgecox was coming in and ramming him in the back.
I don't feel that Kurt Crum has a car that is handling quite to his liking. He's done well with it, but just mostly by passing people that are battling. I don't really think he's got the strength to go run down any of the race leaders. He's just kind of holding station for now, and he's going to have to work a little harder because Hedgecox is there and keeping the pressure on the back of this Bombshell Racing Team car. Look at the 18s run through turn 13 and 14.
Yeah, we saw him try the dive. Unfortunately, Crum did not fall for it. Oh, almost another bump mid-corner.
I think there was a little bit of contact.
With some of these bumps and scrapes, some off tracks here and there, I got to be concerned with the 18, how many incidents they have. We have absolutely no clue. Only he knows how many incidents he has.
It's probably too many by this point, yeah. I have to guess.
And again, a reminder, at 20 incidents, these guys are not going to get a warning. They're going to get a penalty. They're going to come in for a drive-through. And then every 10 incidents after the fact, you see a dive. Hedgecox goes to the inside as Crum could not keep it tight on the apex.
Yeah, this is what happened last. This is what happened last lap, and both times Hedgecox hasn't been able to make it stick. But Crum is leaving the door open down there, and that's inviting a lot of calamity.
I wonder if he's doing it on purpose, just so that Hedgecox can try to dive and then bleed off speed.
Well, Crum, when he slides wide, he keeps drivers left, which is the preferred line for the next corner. So there could be something to that. You know, make him attack you in the corner where you're less vulnerable. Well, big slide for the 888 in the background. Lars Wheeler. Again, that curbing, there's 2 stages of it. Then you kind of drop off a cliff, and when you pull the car back across it, it kind of dances, and you have to be ready to catch it. Otherwise, you can spin across the nose of somebody and wreck your day and probably someone else's. Great battle here, though. It's been on since for the last 36 minutes or so since the drop of the green flag, and about 20 until we'll see the vast majority of teams come into pit lane to switch out their drivers, and there will be some sweaty people jumping out of some sim rigs, I bet.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like for Hedgecox, the way he's driving, I'm actually sweating buckets. The amount of aggressive moves he's made. Still trying to look for a way past Kurt Crum. Oh, found it.
To the inside, knocking doors, but I think Crum is going to have it still. Crossover again, sticks it down the inside, leaves 3/4 of a car width and touches the quarter panel.
Wow, these guys are flirting with inches. Actually, forget inches, they're flirting with millimeters at this point. Little nudges here and there. I'm genuinely amazed we haven't seen people fully taken out. We only saw that really on the opening lap, and then with Blake Reynolds. It was Lars Wheeler. Here comes a dive to the inside of Hedgecox.
Again, but can he maintain that inside groove? I think the outside's the place to be here. It's going to distract Hedgecox for a moment from running Kurt Crum down. That's what Kurt wants to see.
Well, Lars keeping to the left-hand side of the track, then duking out wide to the right. He's going to try to get him back on exit.
Can he hold the overlap? Oh, that's going to be tight. Wow.
Oh, man, I'm about to have a heart attack looking at these guys drive like this.
That section, that right to left to right is so sketchy side by side because someone has to give, and so far everybody has, but one of these laps they won't, and it's going to be a big mess.
We survive for now.
For now, keyword there. And Hedgecox is right back to the 88. He's got a lot of pace. He just needs to harness it and stop messing around with people bumping into him because it's that contact and that the over-under kind of nature that's keeping him from being able to move forward.
These guys hovering around 9 seconds back line leader now.
Still bleeding time to the race leader. Pinto popped out of line on Wheeler, but decided not to go for it. Again,
inside.
Ooh, Crum just missed the corner that time. He's going to have to give it up.
Yeah, can he get it back on the straightaway, though? Big thing.
He's got it now. I think Crum just missed the corner. And you can't give a guy like Hedgecox that opportunity. He just missed the turn.
Hedgecox got a very poor exit with left tire marks out of the final quarter. Here comes Crum with a big run.
For third place again. Here comes Crum to the inside. Ooh, contact. They're going to touch doors into the braking zone. Crum try to slow and woe down that 570S. Hedgecox is going to cross him over. Wow.
These guys are driving like they're in touring cars.
I'm just really impressed at how equal and even the field has been. They have really been trading blows eye for an eye here. Crum's got it back, but Hedgecox is not done yet. He's right there, right behind the 88, and he knows, he's seen it. Crum fighting understeer in this car. Here he comes.
Oh, dive into turn 5.
Crum gave it to him that time, didn't want to be
but
victim.
Crum's trying to come back at him. Oh, Hedgecox loose, almost contact there into the chicane side by side.
Oh, they did make contact a couple of times, and Hedgecox gives it up for now, but on exit, crossover again. This is great stuff.
Oh man, this is too exciting for me. As Hedgecox makes his way on through.
Wow.
Crum trying to do the over-under.
All right, guys, we have an hour and 20 minutes remaining.
Endurance race.
Oh, this is going to end in tears. This is totally going to end in tears. Oh, right to the rear bumper comes the 88 or 888 of Lars Wheeler behind. Rui Pinto just watching all of it out the windshield, but Hedgecox has it for now. Is that enough? Did he burn up too much of his rear tires? Is he able to escape the gravitational pull of Kurt Crum in this one?
I think he's definitely burned up his tires. I've seen him sliding out of quite a few corners. I'm genuinely surprised he hasn't lost more because he's been really aggressive getting on the throttle.
You're still watching the best battle on the racetrack. Nothing else going on. Worth noting, this battle has been rock solid. Across the start-finish line, an hour and 20 minutes remain. Hedgecox has third, but Crum again with that McLaren straightaway speed is going to have a run.
Nowhere to quite go. Wanted to get to the left-hand side, but can't quite get there.
I think this
Wheeler missing the corner. Here comes contact in the background with Pinto.
Gathered it up. I do think this McLaren, again, playing to its strengths, it's better on the straightaways, and that front straight certainly leaves enough room for Crum to experiment and build enough of a run to take back the 18, but he's got to be near him. Whoa, both cars are going to get off track there.
Yeah, Crum's struggling a lot through turn 2, just a whole lot of understeer.
And through here as well, the left-hander struggling to get the nose to turn in. You can't really power slide a mid-engine car around like you can the front-engine car that Hedgecox is driving, so that might be a piece of it as well. Get sideways in a mid-engine car, you're going to go around for a spin, most likely. A little bit deeper in the field, here's Seth Rawls and Stuart Elder. These two have been around each other a couple times today.
Yeah, Elder's been slowly reeling in Rawls this entire time, so potential battle for 10th here brewing.
Yeah, that's Dale Green for the Sector 5 Blackball Racing team. They were involved in that collision early, had a bunch of damage at the exit of, I think that was turn 3. And they've since repaired that, but now they're a lap down on the same lap as Matt Kingsbury in the Complex Simworks car.
And also of note, looking back to that second group that we've been watching quite a while, is a new challenger. New challenger has appeared, or I should say reappeared. That's Blake Reynolds in the 0-1.
Yeah, I wonder how much discussion was had on the radio between Reynolds and the 18 of Jack Hedgecox. I know there was a little bit of contact from the 18 that led to the 0-1 spinning around. I think Hedgecox had a bit of a guilty conscience because he stopped in the racetrack after he did that. But I'm not sure how much of an apology Blake Reynolds was willing to accept.
Yeah, I was waiting for something from race control. I don't think we have a live admin on snap for this race, so I imagine any penalties would be post-race. That's still something to keep in mind. But yeah, Reynolds actually wasn't surprisingly that angry. He was annoyed. He definitely showed some annoyance, but I would have had probably more words to say.
Pinto right behind the 888 of Lars Wheeler.
Yeah, Pinto's going to start having to look in his rear mirror soon because he's going to have pressure from the 0-1 and behind.
Ooh, big dive there.
Ooh, and a slight tap.
Man, my timing software is not cooperating today. Trying to switch back to the team ticker, and it just does not want to do that.
Huh, interesting.
So we're stuck at an hour and 16 minutes remaining.
Just broadcasting things.
Ooh, 25. Wow, Pinto just chucked it down there.
Yeah, aggressive from him. He's been pretty quiet, so I'm surprised to see so much aggression out of him. AAA almost runs a little bit wide. Reynolds now potentially going to be on the attack.
Yeah, Reynolds, again, I think he's going to be super hungry to make up positions. All this fighting just to get back to where he started. And remember, he led 8 laps early in the going, had one of the fastest cars. A little hot into turn 1, but he's carrying good speed through the middle and exit. So things have calmed down a little bit as we approach our first pit stop window in sequence. And the race leader, with Tom Guest behind the wheel for the 99 team, is going to hand that car over to Sam Harper, his gold class driver. Now, that's interesting because, again, in our Pro-Am category, you got 2 different driver ratings, and Sam Harper is the gold in that gold and bronze lineup. For the 71 and 18, they'll be transferring drivers over. Ryan BRT Thor right now is Riley Thompson behind the wheel. It's going to be either Carwile or Brendan Hageman behind the wheel that will jump in. Then the 18 of Gowan Racing will be, I think, Staroska in the 18 is here in this server. Then it will be the 88. Transfer things over to Colin Dainer. We'll see if that goes better than it did last week. The 25 will turn things over to either Cody Cosgrove or Kieran Forrest.
25, let's see, that should be Cody Cosgrove. Waiting in standby.
So all this, Hedgecox has pulled away from Kurt Crum in 3rd place. Up front, though, still Tom Guest leading the way for NRG Bill. Tom Guest has been the dominant force ever since the 0-1 got turned around, and he has just sprinted away and tried to gap Thompson and Hedgecox, and he's done just that.
Yeah, and the bleeding seemed to stop for Thompson around 3.5 seconds is about where the gap is stabilized at. Again, looking to see once we change hands to the drivers taking over for the second half of this race, the gaps close up or close or separate even more. I'm sure for Thompson going to be hoping that gap closes down. Hedgecox, he's starting to break away from the 88 car.
Blake Reynolds now finally bringing real pressure to the back of the 888. All still within grasp. There's a whole bunch of cars within just a couple of seconds. That means that you can see, wow, big slide for Wheeler, and here comes the 0-1 now, side by side for 6th place.
Yeah, just threw it too hard to turn 5.
There's just so many corners on this track. Oh man, this is getting dicey. There's so many corners on this track that are super flat. Not a lot of camber to them. So if you miss the corner, you miss it by a lot.
I was gonna say, I think there's a few corners that are cambered out as well. You can make it even worse.
Who designed this track?
It's a great question. I don't want to say. I don't think. No, it definitely wasn't Hermontel.
Why would you anti-bank a corner?
Well, no, they Hermonto does it on a lot of like a lot of his circuits, or a lot of the tilt circuits have are cambered opposite.
That's why they all
it was to make it. It was to make it more challenging.
Yeah, it makes it stink to drive.
Oh well, that's why a lot of the tracks haven't done well.
Look at this battle. This is a great fight for 6th place. I think Reynolds is going to try to tuck under on corner exit. Such a long turn 16 to get the throttle down. So difficult to build a run in that particular corner. You just have to wait, and then you wait too long.
Yeah, for some, I mean, in some cases, it just seems like you just got to stick it up the inside and just chuck it in.
There's something to be said about that. I mean, I think there's a lot of corners here that you try to, you know, maybe late apex these long left and right-handers. I think there's something to be said about just jam it down the inside and go the short way around. Doesn't matter how you get it. It doesn't matter how you get out. The corner's so long that if you stick tight to the inside radius, you're going to make up time. Seth Rawls and Stuart Elder for 10th.
And Rawls does not decide to dive, although Elder going to miss the apex a little bit. And run a little bit wide. Here comes Rawls on the outside, looking to be in the outside by turn 2.
This is a great section because there's just so you have to compromise one corner to make the next. Oh, a little touch there, and Elder, thank goodness he's got heat in those tires, because on an opening lap, I think that would have been a spin. Just that little bit of contact is all it takes.
Yeah, that's going to be, you know, speaking of which, because we are approaching pit stop soon, as we say that. Wheeler
Trouble, contact, the 0-1 and 888, bang, doors together. And it's getting hands-on now.
Yeah, significant contact. Surprised it didn't end up worse for both these guys, as they're a little bit offset. Here comes Reynolds, though, slight run. Just the nose poking ahead into the corner.
I'm
going to charge on through.
How much abuse these cars can take.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the way these guys have been on each other, they all look very intact and unscathed, I guess.
The cars are. I don't think the egos are. Everyone's bruised there. It's been a tough day. There's a lot of frustration when you run door-to-door like this, but we have a lot of body work to crunch and push out of the way. These GT4 cars are pretty dense. Here comes Reynolds now. I think he's got Sustin Martin this time through.
And on through he will go, whether he holds it or not. Be the big question.
I think he's got enough. Don't leave the door open, though. He didn't go defensive.
I was going to say, he left it wide open. Might as well have laid the carpet for him as well. But managed to keep it through.
Elder and Rawls again side by side for 10th place. Shift Esports on the right. Big D Energy on the left. Green car.
Yeah, Rawls trying to defend now as he was just able to get on past. Mclaren going to look way up the inside.
Same story, different order.
Rawls a bit of a better run though. Can he get there to the inside by turn 2? Looks like he will. And the whole key of this section is make sure you don't outbrake yourself, because you're going to go fly into your competitor. Very easy to do.
What a great section here, that right-hand downhill corner. Fully on throttle, sweeping out to the outside edge of the road. Big curb on the apex. Then into this left-hander uphill. Great, great sector of racetrack. So that is sorted for now. Tom Guest passes the pit entry. I think you could make it from here if you wanted to come down.
I heard someone go down to pit lane. Looks like it was 55 Murphy Nichols' first car to bite. I don't think there was any issue that preempted this, so
no.
I think it's scheduled.
You can make it. We saw teams and drivers go pretty far last time out, so he'll turn the car over to Morgan Burkhardt, who jumped in the number 55 for Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall. And Rui Pinto closing in on Kurt Crum. This would be for a 4th place position. Last time by was about 400s quicker.
I gotta say, this is really surprising. Pinto has been really quiet this race. He's been kind of in the midst of everything. Hasn't made a whole lot of noise. We saw him make a move earlier on Wheeler, and now finally try to get back to Kurt Crum, so he can move himself up to 4th.
Burkhardt's out of the pits. Not been a great day for the Heimdall team. But Guest, Thompson, Hedgecock are your top three. Thompson has been too quiet running here in second. He's done a good job keeping Bombshell Racing Team Thor in touch.
Went flying through the curb. He actually has been reeling the gap back in. It's around 3.6, 3.7 at most, now under 3 seconds. It's actually closing in really fast.
Yeah, the best thing he can do is just keep in touch with the leader so that when his teammate climbs in, they're within striking distance. Also note that they're in a different class, so while an overall win is great, I think their goal is just to beat the 18 as well. But when the overall lead is right there, you might as well.
We'll see. Anyone electing to come on down? Guess is going to stay out.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why they would come in early. 71 will also stay out. Hedgecock's is making really good time. It's actually the quickest car of the leaders and is going to continue to stay on the road. Crum and Pinto as well. No. And watch this McLaren just sprint away. Despite the slipstream, it just rockets off into the distance.
And by the time you get any slipstream, you're pretty much at the corner.
I do think the Aston's a better car pretty much everywhere else, though, but Crum is able to manage with that one straightaway alone. Imagine a place like Daytona. No wonder why everyone calls these cars OP at tracks like that. Maca OP. It's in real life, too. I remember that back in Nashville, that was the complaint. McLaren was just in another gear. It basically was. It has 7.
Cheaters.
1 hour, 5 minutes, and 25 seconds remaining in the MTEC Sprint Series round number 2. And it's been a pretty wild one so far. The first 30 minutes or so pretty hands-on between the front 5. And since then it's calmed down just a little bit, but still a couple battles brewing. This one in particular for 4th place. And pit stop's about to get underway. The only car that is good to the end is the number 55 Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall car, which is not really in contention for the lead. So again, for Tom Guest, though, in the 99, he'll be turning things over to Sam Harper, who is his gold class entry. What's the motivation for staying on the track? Why not pass things over to your gold class driver, Finian?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he feels like he can put some solid time in. The tires are nice and warm. You got to remember, too, that there is going to be that period of time where you're going to have to deal with the cold tires. So I guess he feels now the tires are hot, just try to stretch out the gap. He's actually doing a good job. Gap's now at 3.8, 3.9 seconds between himself and Thompson. So I guess they feel that they've got some good pace. They're not really losing any time. So he'll continue onward.
Closest battle on the racetrack right now is this one for 4th, Crum and Pinto. It's been brewing for a little while, but no major moves.
Yeah, I think with pit stops right around the corner, I think action's a little bit quiet. You're going to be a little bit quieter because these guys are going to be turning the cars over.
Yeah, desperation drops a little bit once you get to that last couple minutes. You're just trying to get to the pit stop sequence and hand over the car in the best condition possible. Although Hedgecock's had still has a ton of pace. He's been eating into this lead, not by hundredths of a second, but by tenths. He's chunking out the lead, and I think he'll try to stay on track as long as he can based on that.
Yeah, exactly as you said. So I'm curious to see, though, how much he can continue that, or if that's just a fluke, or if he's actually making up some ground.
He's been doing this consistently, though, so I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's just a matter of how much fuel does he have on board to make it to that halfway point.
Well, the next thing, too, is will it be, you think maybe if they can make up those 9 seconds, it's going to be taller. And we don't quite know because they're all transferring it to different drivers. So it's all going to be on the next driver's pace, whether or not that 18's got a fast guy or the 99's got a slow guy. Yeah,
well, again, just based on strictly by their classing, you would expect the 99 to be faster the second half of the race, and the 18 would expect to be roughly the same. So maybe there's a little bit of motivation keeping Jack on the track, who is still going as fast or faster than the leader. Guest's last lap was a 1:54.479. This time a 1:54.450. Thompson in second place, does a 154.385, so a little bit faster. And Jack Hedgecock's again this time through a 154.2, so still the fastest car on the racetrack. And still reeling in Thompson and Guest, but he just needs more time, and he's going to run out of it before his car runs out of fuel. Pinto keeping Crum honest, but Crum has been making decidedly fewer mistakes without the 18 breathing down his neck and kind of forcing them. Pinto's been a little bit calmer behind the 88, and that's kind of the strength that Jack has had, right? He gets behind somebody, he kind of freaks him out, and then they make their own mistakes on which he capitalizes. Pinto has not been able to puncture the armor like the 18 did.
Yeah, Hitchcock's been really good at trying to fake people out, force people into mistakes. It's definitely one of his strong suits, but Pinto just kind of riding behind, just mounting some pressure, just sticking as close to the car ahead as possible. But yeah, as you mentioned, Crum not exactly falling for it, but both these guys are losing just a little bit of time more and more as the 18's picked up some pace here at the end of his stint.
Garen Batten climbs behind the wheel to 003, so consider that car complete on pit stops for the day. The Penguin RC car with Blake Reynolds last time by was half a second faster than the leaders and a full second faster than Rui Pinto the last time around. So this 01 is coming with a vengeance too. And Sarah Robb will get behind the wheel of the 01. And they were a pretty deadly duo back at Imola. They won the race. So keep an eye on that 01 Penguin RC car. Here comes Kurt Crum.
Yeah, one of the first of the leaders to come on down. So this will be interesting. If we start to see more and more drivers start to come in.
So Bombshell Racing Team Odin hits pit lane with 1 hour remaining. And so does the 888. Lars Wheeler will follow him into pit road. 888 will turn things over to Marc Antonio Federa, which is the gold-rated driver in that Pro-Am combination. The Crum is out. Colin Dainer is in. And Tom Guest, half a second faster than Riley Thompson last time by. Thompson slow, a 155.0. A 154.0 for Hedgecock's. Again, another full second gained on the race leader.
Yeah, he's kind of genuinely impressive where he got this pace from, putting in some really solid laps.
And I'm surprised because he ate up the tires in the first 30 minutes of the race.
With the way he was driving in the entirety of the first lap, I would have thought he would be the first guy to burn off his tires. So he's proven us both wrong. He's managed to save something. So he's been doing good. So I'm curious to see that the car, how it performs in the second half. Colin Dainer exiting the pits now in the 88 car.
Seth Rawls is in for Shift Esports. Nathaniel Cherry will jump in for the 02.
Christian Ososo jumping in the 21, taking over from Ray Kingsbury.
It's been an unfortunate day for the 21 with that early issue. First couple laps of the race, they have not been in contention like they probably should have been.
Oh, sorry, Matt Kingsbury, the other Kingsbury brother.
Yep. Guest goes around another lap. Does Thompson come in? No, he stays out once more. Hedgecock's does the same. Pinto thought about going to pit lane. Nope. Blake Reynolds also, he will come to pit lane. So Sarah Robb on deck for the 01.
It's hard to tell because that's the racing line just coming over the pit lane entry. Never quite know, so Reynolds electing to come in.
So Reynolds, while making up a ton of ground, will come into the box to allow Sarah Robb to climb behind the wheel. A lot of our front runners have made their stops. Well, I should say a lot of the mid-packers. The front runners have still remained on the road. Guest, Thompson, Hedgecock's your top three. It's been that way for about 30 minutes. We only have 58 to go and still pit stops to do. Guest has a comfortable 4.6 second lead and has yet to put in their gold-rated driver.
Really interested in seeing that battle for the lead develop once the shift over. Will Thompson in that 71 car, will they be able to close back up, or will the gap shift further apart? I gotta say for Tom Guest too, he's done a really solid job just slowly breaking away. I haven't really seen any mistakes out of the 99 the entirety of this race either.
On board now with Colin Dainer up to 7th. Always runs an interesting helmet. Poking in the glass there, can't quite tell what he's got on, but it's colorful at the very least. Has this 9 car been, or the 01 been in pit lane a little long?
Let's see. Oh yeah, he's definitely been there a long time. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, no, Sarah Robb has still not gotten in the car yet.
Oh, she is not in the server.
Oh, that is not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, I could have sworn that she was. I feel like I remember seeing her in.
Well, Blake Reynolds is available for an interview. Let's talk to him. Hey, Blake Reynolds, SimTV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Blake. Well, race was going fairly well for you in the early going. Got contact that sent you to the back of the field. You climbed through some of it. We're running some of the best laps on the track, and now you're stuck in pit lane without a teammate to climb in. What's going on?
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of knew going in. Fortunately, Sarah, her race in pieces, so Brandon Lambert was going to hop in our car this week, and something has happened, and he is unable to make it here. So I'm just not willing to go over my drive time, so I'm just going to sit here, and if he shows up, he shows up. But yeah, that's where we're sitting in the Penguin RC Lone Star car.
That's tough. That happened to the 88 the last time out at Imola. But the pace was really good today, and that has to be a positive that you can take away regardless of the chances of winning this race slipping through your fingers just now. But looking forward to the rest of the season, if you can kind of stay off the bumper of the 18 as it happened in the early going, I think you've got a good piece for the rest of the season. What do you think?
I think so. We did just get a little bit of a nerf with the BOP, but it seems to have not worked. Or maybe it just brought us closer. I'm not really sure yet. We haven't seen the Porsche, the BMW, or hopefully the Mercedes next race. We'll see about that. But yeah, strong car. Just shame I can't finish it. And to the 18, he apologized. He said he was trying to bump draft me into a corner, which a fourth gear corner I'm not sure about. But I'll take his word. So we'll move on.
Well, he definitely did bump draft you. That is true.
Bump draft me into the runoff.
Yes, but unfortunate. Despite leading a couple laps early, looks like Blake Reynolds will be stuck in the pits for now. Blake, sorry about that. Hopefully you get back out there a little bit later.
Yep. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. So Penguin RC stuck trackside. Tom Guest in pit lane here, Finian.
Yep, and coming on through, and he's going to be handing over that car to, as he goes through his pit stop, going to lose a little bit of time there.
Yeah, he's got enough of a lead. It shouldn't be a huge concern. So does Riley Thompson go out another lap, or does he come in this time? I think he's going to probably pit now. And Jack Hedgecox is coming. Eating that lead down to just 3 seconds, sub 3 seconds between Thompson and Hedgecox. Despite a couple of the mistakes and the rough start that the 18 had, he really has been on it in terms of overall pace.
Yeah, it really does. I'm curious to see again if he can try to not only catch up to Thompson, but that 99 car. Definitely seems like he has the pace, but it's not a question of whether he has the pace because he's just about to turn over this car soon. And they're actually running out of time. I think they're only allowed to go up to around 70 minutes, so I think they're going to come in either this lap or next lap. Next lap is cutting it a little close, so you might see both of them heading this time by.
Yeah, Thompson's got traffic in front of him too. That's not going to be very helpful. That's the Big D Energy car, Garen Batten, right ahead of him, 003. And then the Sector 5 Blackball car, Chris Sherburne, that we saw damaged early. Kinetic Racing is in. Matt Chalker climbs behind the wheel. Sam Harper is in for the NRG Bill team. You see the Blackball Sector 5 car pulling over to let the race leader by. But either way, Hedgecox has been reeling in the 71. I think the 71 and the 18 is probably the most volatile battle of the front runners at the moment. And it's going to stay out again. That's a bit of a surprise to me. So will the 18. I really thought he would have come in following the 99 the next lap around, but didn't choose to do that.
Yeah, so next time by for both these guys, I would imagine. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing somewhere that it was around 70 minutes was the upper limit.
Yeah, pushing it all the way to the end. A little off-track moment there for Thompson at the exit of turn 1. So in a couple weeks, about a month, we're going to head to Winton Motor Raceway for our third round of the season. Then Red Bull Ring, Road America, and the Nürburgring to finish things off in the tail end of July, August, and September. But right now, the focus is on finishing out this second round with just over 50 minutes to go. And Jack Hedgecock's in this 18 for Gowan race. Oh, trouble! He's in the fence! Hard crash, and the 18 car is out of the race. Just like that, it's over.
And that was very surprising. He's got heavy damage. Car struggling to even get started.
Wow.
I think just pushed the limit?
Right here, wow, just gets up on the curb and then slams into the wall. That was such a small, compared to what we've seen today, that was a small little baby slide there. Just kicks out the rear and slams into the tires.
Yeah, it looks like it's because, I think because he had all the tires basically on the curbing. There is not a lot of grip on those curbs. And
it just
late
snapped.
in the run.
You can just see.
The tire's a little bit worn out. And round he went.
I don't think there was a lot that could have saved that here. Just snapped around and into the wall. And for all the progress in passing and repassing and fights and battles, that car is going to be heavily damaged and is going to drop down the order.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? If he had come in a little bit earlier, you know, maybe wouldn't have had a damaged car, but unfortunately it's going to be day over more or less for the 18.
Yeah, that car is pretty severely damaged.
And Riley Thompson still not come in. As he continues on in the lead.
Well, now his biggest foe in this race is crashed out. Pinto is the next driver he's got to worry about, but the 18 by far was the biggest threat to Thompson and his position. And I think Sam Harper might have just breathed a sigh of relief as well, not having to worry about the 18 coming back forward and being a threat again to them. So Sam Harper and Thompson can breathe for a moment. Here comes that number 99.
Yeah, actually, two cars coming in for pit stops. The PG 13 threat level Midnight car going to change hands. Cameron Bidwell jumping in the car. And the 18 also coming in to fix that car up and also change hands.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that car will be able to be repaired. There's some significant left front damage, a tie rod or something broken on that car.
Yeah, just need some duct tape.
Ain't NASCAR. So Thompson
taught me duct tape can fix anything.
Thompson leads the way. DriveSVR.com with Rui Pinto runs in second, 7 seconds back. And again, these positions will fall to second and third once things cycle out because of Sam Harper. And Harper has been running very competitive and quick lap times in the low to mid 54s, which is as quick, if not quicker, than the leaders were before. And here, you're right, here comes Riley Thompson. So they were back, what, 3 to 4 seconds from the 99 prior to the sequence?
Yeah, just about. So I'm curious to see how much they gained or lost.
Into the box, and where is the number 99? Kind of a long ways back here, entering turn 14, so there's still a little bit of time for Ryan Carwile to jump in. Rui Pinto stays out on track, so the DriveSVR.com car will lead a lap.
Yeah, I also wanted to correct myself from earlier. It's 75 minutes is the maximum.
Okay, so we're pretty much knocking on the door of that right now. So Carwile is in the pits. Here comes the 99, Sam Harper. Across the start-finish line, it looks like the NRG Bill 99 will pass the 71 as Carwile leaves the pits. So there's your differential.
It's actually not that bad. I think I actually might have made up some time.
Yeah, about 2.8 as they left the pit lane. Now 3.1. So yeah, roughly the same as it was prior. Now just different drivers behind the wheel. So now it's going to be Harper versus Carwile for that spot. Bombshell Racing Team Odin with Colin Dainer is up to 4th place. It will be 3rd, potentially, after the drivesvr.com car comes in, but Pinto might slot between Carwile and Dainer.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. I mean, I would say that these guys that are staying out, they have a slight advantage just running on warmer tires. Again, once you pit, you gotta warm up the tires for about a lap or two. So it's gonna cost you some time on the track. Pinto finally coming in. Be the last driver to pit.
So Pinto is in, 25 car will change hands, and now the lead will cycle back to be NRG Bill. Sam Harper behind the wheel, the gold class driver in this Pro-Am lineup.
Up, and it looks like the 18 has officially retired.
Yeah, that car was too far gone to be repaired. It is unfortunate. Duncan Starostka not able to make any laps under race conditions in this one, and it was so close. Had the 18 come in a lap prior, doesn't necessarily mean they would have finished, but that particular situation might not have happened.
Yeah, and it always sucks sitting there the driver, especially in such a good position, and you could just be looking and thinking, man, what could have been? And nothing they could really do different now that it's all said and done.
They could have won that race. They had the pace to do it. Cody Cosgrove jumps behind the wheel of the drivesvr.com car, and they release from the box as the NRG Bill car comes across the line. And where is the Bombshell Racing Team Thor car? Carwile. Looks like they're going to just beat Drive SVR. So Colin Dainer will stay fourth for Bombshell Racing Team. So Harper, Carwile, Cosgrove, Dainer, and Mark Antonio Federa in the 888. That is your top five. Then it's Cameron Bidwell, Matt Chalker, Garen Batten, Morgan Burkhardt, and Nathaniel Cherry, the rest of your top 10. So NRG Build, Bombshell Racing Team Thor, Drive SVR, Bombshell Racing Team Odin, Sustin Martin.
The 02 has gotten some really significant left side damage. I noticed that car crabbing.
I'll say.
I'm going to see what happened.
Oh, this is it's very similar damage to what we just saw with the 18.
It was almost the exact same incident.
Here's a look again. Turns in. Is this the same corner too?
Yep, same exact corner, same exact way.
Oh. And late in the run, it's a peculiar time to have that happen. Is this late in the day when the track's all rubbered in, but just gets onto the rumble strip and it just snaps, and just nothing you can do to fix it. And again, big impact and suspension damage. That might be it for the shifties. That left front tire is barely rolling.
Yeah, it's going to require extensive repairs. Maybe not going to be getting out on the track.
They weren't having a particularly great day anyway, but it just stinks to end it on a note like that.
Good news is that car, since that car's only on 3 wheels, they're going to get tax exemption. not going to be taxed like a car. It's taxing a motorcycle.
Is that how that works in Hungary?
I think that's how it works. Actually, I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully.
Under 45 minutes to go, Sam Harper leads by 7 seconds. So Carwile lost a big portion of time that time through. 54.5 for Sam Harper, 56.2 for Carwile. So now the battle will be for second with Cody Cosgrove.
Yeah, that 25 really benefited quite a bit, not only just leapfrogging way ahead of the 88, and now on the back of the 71 car. So that was a really good, that entire sequence worked out really well for them.
And think about where they started this race. 5th place. If they could grab second, that would really be a good points day for them.
Yeah, especially it looks like Carlisle is not quite up to speed. Ran a 156.2 last time by. Leader ran a 154.5.
Yeah. Yeah, Carwile's not fully comfortable just yet, and I think there's something to be said about being cautious first couple laps out. We've seen how quickly the cars can bite you if you're not on top of it. But 2 official DNFs, Blake Reynolds in the 0-1, and then Gowan Racing with Duncan Starostka behind the wheel. Never got a chance to get behind the wheel. And Chris Sherburne is back in 12th in the 007. Christian Ost in the Complex Simworks number 21 back in 11th place. Shifty Sports in 10th and Burkhardt 9th. Garen Batten 8th. Kinetic Racing's Matt Chalker in 7th. Cameron Bidwell in 6th. Your top 5 has been where the majority of the action has been so far, but different drivers behind the wheel now. And Harper, Carwile, and Cosgrove are likely your 3 where the action is going to be. I think these 2 are going to get into a scrap here before the end of this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially with Carwell, the way his pace is looking at the moment, definitely looks like that 25 is a little bit stronger. Well, we'll see if Carwell's got any fight in him, or if he can try to find a way to make the car respond to his liking and try to pick up the pace.
Getting comfortable, too. Again, don't want to push too hard too soon. 42 minutes to go. This is, you know, we call this the MTEC Sprint Series, but this is really a true sprint now. About 40 minutes left. That's the distance when you can really push a GT4 car hard and it won't bite you too badly. When you're going an hour 10, hour 15, then you can really roast things. But so far, 30 to 40 minutes seems to be pretty doable at a high degree of aggression. Cosgrove able to kind of hunt back to the left and kind of straighten corners out. Again, this McLaren has just looked pushy for everybody behind the wheel today.
Yeah, it really has. I think Thompson mitigated that quite a bit. His car looked, for some reason, again, just probably the way he was driving, his car looked a little less understeered the way he was taking the corner. But as you mentioned, everyone else seems to be struggling, just not quite hooking up like the Aston is. And I think that's where they're losing a lot of time. And obviously, they're gaining that back on the straightaway.
Do keep in mind, though, that the two cars that have had big impacts have been Astons from that snap loose condition on the curbing. So there's, you know, maybe that oversteery situation is a little bit too much at times. Here's Garen Batten and Matt Chalker fighting for position. This is for 7th. But going back to 2nd place, I really do think this is going to be where it gets exciting. Cosgrove being very patient so far. Actually, everybody that's climbed in the car after the initial start has been pretty patient in comparison to their teammates up in the front.
Yeah, I guess that's not too surprising, right? Because now everyone's spread out. It's a matter of just kind of managing your own race, putting down some good lap times, and maybe you catch up to someone. Cosgrove are going to get a little bit of a slipstream, as we mentioned. That McLaren just really, I'll be honest, it's probably too good on the straights to really catch them.
Yeah, I don't think a pass on the McLaren is going to happen into turn 1 without a really big send, but the Aston's strengths is pretty much everywhere else. You just have to be ready to pounce. Those kind of medium radius corners where we've seen the McLaren start to push, that's when you have to be ready. We saw Crum, especially in that final sector, really lose the nose, and that opened up the door for the Astons to get through. Well, it looks like the Shifty Sports car got repaired. Here comes Christian Ost down the inside. This is for 10th. Despite how much damage that car looked like it had, it isn't retired like the 18 that had very similar damage levels. So whatever they managed to do, they've gotten that car repaired.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking a fast repair, fix it all back up, so that's why the car looks like it's in such good condition.
We don't normally have those in this series, but today they were inserted in the session, and we're told essentially that because they're there, their use can't be regulated, so feel free to use it. And Shifty Sports team elected to, and they're battling for positions. Look how much bigger the Aston is in the vertical dimension, just so much taller than the McLaren. Ooh, that was a little tight. They're losing time to Sam Harper. That is definitely true. And look at this, Ost and Cherry.
It's our timing screen fly up as they've been poking nose ahead of each other, but it looks like Cherry's going to win out on this occasion for now. Ost still trying to mount that pressure, work his way inside the top 10.
Have to keep our eyes peeled on that one as much as we do for the battle for 2nd. About 20 laps to go, 38 minutes with just sub-minute and 56-second laps for the race leader. Harper again continues to dominate this. Again, that team has been on top of it. They were kind of granted the lead from that collision early in the race with the 18 and the 0-1. Now the 18 and 0-1 are 13th and 14th, and the 99 has just taken full advantage. They were given lemons, and they have made the sweetest lemonade today.
Yeah, every single time I'm looking at 25 coming through turn 3. He's got a really good run. This is the best one he's had, and the door slammed shut by Ryan Carwell.
Ooh, there might have been a little touch there on corner entry. Cosgrove has been sitting very patiently back here.
And it's Cosgrove showing that he's saying, hey, I can make that move. Don't give me the spot, because I will.
And these two going back at it, Cherry and Ost.
Gonna switch back from Ost, trying to get to the right-hand side of the track. Who's gonna give, though?
Neither, side by side. Watch out for that curbing. We've seen that bite a couple of drivers. But Ost will have to try it again a little later. Back to second.
And this is looking really good, as close as Cosgrove's been. To the back of the McLaren, going to try to keep it a little tighter than inside. Carwell slamming the door shut again. Question is, can Cosgrove try to get that run? We mentioned that it's going to be pretty hard, if any, to catch that McLaren, but gets a decent run off the corner.
Watch the acceleration from the McLaren. It's just going to drive away. The slipstream will start to eat into that lead right about here, but by then it's too late.
And didn't think about diving, but Cosgrove definitely the next few corners is really where the Aston stretches its legs, looking bad at Ost. And Cherry still duking at it.
Now they have that's the PG-13 threat level midnight car lurking behind them on the lead lap in 6th. About 18 seconds up the road to find someone that Bidwell can battle. So he might join that party a little bit, but this one's still getting pretty tense. This is on the order of be perfect or you're going to lose your spot, and Carwile has been, while not maybe the fastest car on the road, he has not made a lot of mistakes.
No, he's definitely put up a really solid defense to keep the Aston in behind. Cosgrove, even despite having the car stronger in some parts of the track, he's not been able to find a way around the McLaren. So Carwell's been doing a good job. I mean, question is, can he keep this up for the next 20 or so laps?
Well, the other thing is, leave this camera shot here. Look who you find in the mirror. Colin Dainer ran almost half a second faster than both these cars the last time around. So if these two continue to fight amongst themselves, might you bring in the 88 Bombshell Racing Team car?
And I think at the moment that's definitely a possibility. He's only 4 seconds behind, so you know he's making up half a second a lap. 8 laps, he's going to be there.
We've got about 20 to go. 19 this time through. And what are our penalty numbers at too? That's always the question. If these two are close on that incident limit, we could see a drive-through penalty, and that would end your chances at a podium. Big dive from Cosgrove into turn 1. He's got it. Carwile crosses over.
Can't quite get back on the power. It seems going to be Cosgrove that easily clears him.
Well done.
And I don't know if Carwell can try to fight back in this particular sector.
Yeah, that was a really strong run by Cosgrove. I mentioned a couple laps ago I didn't think we'd see an Aston pass the McLaren into that corner, but he did it. Stood the car up on the nose and got it stopped.
Had to do a big dive, but got the job done. Now the question is, can Carwell at least stick with the Aston until we get to that front straightaway, and then maybe he can use its straight line advantage to try to throw it back up the inside.
Yeah, if Carwile has been kind of paying attention to the ebb and flow of his gap, that's what he would put all of his tickets in the straightaway bucket and just try to keep the gap close, but not necessarily go for a pass until that front straightaway. That's where the McLaren shines. Doing all the right things at the moment, but losing a little bit here. Oh, that's a good run.
These medium and high-speed corners are not really doing him any favors. But keeping the gap still fairly close where he probably needs to keep it.
Just needs to keep the 25 within maybe 0.3 of a second. He's a little bit further back than that right now. But this gap, count him, for about 4 car lengths. It's going to be 2 by the time they get to turn 1 if he gets a decent run through 16. Yeah, so about another 4 car lengths, and this is where this McLaren is going to stretch its legs. And you can just see it visually closing.
Yeah, already starting.
3 car lengths. 2 car lengths into the braking zone. But just not quite close enough. Just over 30 minutes to go. 32 minutes, 20 seconds remain. Blake Reynolds has officially retired the 0-1. Given up on that day. That's frustrating for them. Similar situation to what we saw with the Bombshell Racing team at Imola. No one to pick up the second half of the ride.
It's an unfortunate thing. Obviously, everyone has got a real life to attend to, so unfortunately, you know, and also things just happen outside of the sim, out of your control. And as we mentioned, happened to the 88 last week, and now happening to the 0-1. It's one of those things. Oh, let's see the Spark car running a little bit wide, turn 5.
Yeah, managed to gather it back up and keep Carwile behind him. So I think this is going to fizzle unless Carwile can really have a good run at him on the straightaway again. I don't think he's got the mid-sector pace to keep up with the Drive SVR car.
Actually, for me, I don't even think it's so much the mid-sector pace. I think it's this last sector, those final 2 hairpins that I think the Mclaren just can't really get through in a decent manner because he's keeping it pretty close here. And then these next 3 corners, I think, is where he's starting to lose them.
He's got the AC on. He's sucking out horsepower from the McLaren.
He wants to stay cool while he's driving.
Yeah, you're right. These last 3 corners are not kind.
Yeah, you can see he's already losing about a car length or 2, and then next hairpin, pretty much the same deal.
You can almost hear the tires just struggling against the pavement. They don't like that particular corner, and Cosgrove much safer this time through than he was last.
Yeah, you can see Dainer getting closer and closer now, just over 3 seconds in behind Carwile.
We haven't really seen a lot of McLaren on McLaren fighting today. I'm curious to see how that'll race.
It's mostly been Aston versus Aston, Aston versus McLaren.
There's only a couple McLarens out on the track in general, so not a lot to fight amongst. So, with all that aside, NRG Bill with Sam Harper is just making laps and making them quick. About a half a second quicker than anybody else. This driver lineup has been stout, and I have to feel that even without the contact that sent the 0-1 car around, this 99 would probably still be leading this race at this stage based on the pace that they have shown.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got really solid pace. Sam Harper pretty much continuing exactly what his teammate did earlier. It's continuing to stretch that lead slowly but surely and not making any mistakes. And I think really for the 99, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he could probably back it down a couple tenths here and there. But as long as he doesn't make a mistake, I think he's going to be really solid for just securing this one. He's been expanding more and more, now to around 11.5 seconds to lead.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. I think they can back it down plenty and still have room to spare. But Sam has certainly got that lead under control. No other major battles at the moment. Everyone is kind of spread out. And now it's just clicking off these final 16 or so laps. Final 29 minutes of MTEC Sprint Series round number 2. For how aggressive and wild the first 30 minutes was, the subsequent hour was pretty quiet, I'll have to say.
Yeah, I think everyone got what they needed out of the system in the first half.
I think the catalyst to a lot of those touches and scrapes and grinds, the 18 Gowan racing car also being out, has kind of prevented things from popping off. Wasn't doing anything wrong necessarily, but
no,
certainly was adding fuel to the fires that were already happening.
Definitely made it interesting. I think probably had the most passes on anyone. Passed a couple of guys, had an incident, passed more guys.
So here is the look at the 888 Marc Antonio Federa. Back in 5th place. This car was really up in the mix earlier, but is kind of running a lonely 5th at the moment. 4 seconds back is PG-13 threat level midnight car. Now this is an interesting one. By the way, Marc Antonio Federa had to serve a drive-through for incident limit breakage. So Federa lost a bunch of ground and now has Cameron Bidwell not too far behind.
Yeah, I even noticed that too because even before I think he went into Federa's hands, that 888 was losing some time here or there. And then as you mentioned, that incident limit, adding insult to injury.
A bit of a fight beginning to formulate. Matt Chalker and Morgan Burkhardt. And the 55 in particular, think back to the very beginning of this race, the collision that they had and the subsequent trip to pit lane. They have been fighting back all day long and now looking at 8th place on the 61 Kinetic Racing car.
Yeah, made some really good ground up in turn 1 here. See what they can do in turn 2. A dive, aggressive dive up the inside.
Yeah, Morgan is an extremely talented and fast driver. We've seen it in a variety of series, most recently the Grid Life iRacer series, where we ran the Touring Car Classic and the TCR class car. And Morgan was consistently running in the top 3 with some of the heavy hitters of that series. We know he's capable, but just started with the luck not going the right way. The 55 had that initial crash. They got tangled with the Shifty sports car later in the race. And now they're just trying to salvage what they can in the final 15 laps.
It's going to be tough, though, for them. The next car ahead, 7th place, the 003, is about 18 seconds up the road. So it's going to be a bit of a tall order to try to catch them, but yeah, I'm sure he's going to try nonetheless.
And Bombshell Racing Team is about to have a bit of a scrap between them, their own cars. Thor and Odin, Ryan Carwile and Colin Dainer. This is going to be a battle for the podium here, so I wouldn't expect punches to be pulled.
I mean, well, they are teammates, so maybe a few punches pulled. Not a whole lot.
Well, 23 seconds back to Federa. They've got some room. And I don't think either of them, maybe Dainer's got some pace for Cody Crossgrove, and maybe there's some team planning there, but if they don't think they can get to the 25, it's really just going to be a battle amongst these two, so why not go for the battle?
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure not the first time these guys have raced against each other.
No, a couple times we've seen this in a variety of series, actually, not just this one. On the brakes, Carwile struggling just a little bit. Last time by, Dainer was actually a full second faster, a 54.8 to a 55.8.
Yeah, it seems like Carwell's not been able to get this car hooked up and going compared to his competition. He's not been slow, he's just not been particularly fast.
Well, I will say that he's been a little slow. Looking at his last lap, he was the slowest car in the top 8.
Ooh.
So definitely struggling.
Okay, that does, yeah, that kind of qualifies for slow.
Yeah, just hasn't clicked today, and I kind of get it. I mean, this track in particular, I've never really figured out how to be fast at, so I think there are some drivers that just have tracks that click, and I don't think this is one of them for Carwile, and maybe the car is not helping either. I don't think I would choose this car to race at this track, but you don't get that choice. You're kind of stuck with what you got. I think I'd rather be in the Merc in this field, but we'll have the Merc next time out.
I'm curious to see how many guys are going to shift over.
I'm surprised that we don't see more Porsches. I still think the Porsche is the best handling of the group, and I think it's probably just neglected because it's the oldest GT4 and probably the least good-looking of the group.
Nah, I would argue the BMW is probably the worst.
I like how the BMW looks. I just don't think it drives. It drives like a can of soup.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's definitely the black sheep of the GT4 cars. No one likes it. It's usually been, as you mentioned, Porsche, McLaren, then the Aston Martin. Now Mercedes is getting some drivers.
It's bizarre because at least in the World Challenge grid, the BMW was the car to have for a year or two. It was pretty much dominant on every North American road course. But here in iRacing, it just has never really been. There was one season where it was pretty good, and then that was back when the Porsche was still kind of deathy, and the BMW was pretty stable. Once the Porsche got kind of weaned out and kind of fixed a little bit, the BMW all of a sudden just started driving like a minivan. And probably better off in grid life than it is in GT4 racing.
I was going to say.
22 minutes to go. Long laps here, so still quite a few laps left. And you're watching the battle for third place. Bombshell Racing Team Thor with Ryan Carwile, that's the teal and purple. And Bombshell Racing Team Odin I'm probably going to get yelled at. That is not teal. That's cyan and magenta. It's like 2/3 of a printer ink cartridge. It's even got the toner in it. Behind him, that's the Bombshell Racing Team Odin car, Colin Dainer and Kurt Crum. Crum did the first half of the race. Dainer did the second half. That is the blue, orange, and white team car. Same livery, different colorations.
Battle of the gods here. Thor versus Odin.
Is Odin a god? I know Thor is, right?
Yeah, no. Odin is... Yes, Odin is his father. I'm trying to think because the Marvel lore is like messed up that because in the actual mythology, Thor and Loki are not brothers. And I was trying to think. I was like, wait, is Thor actually? Sorry, is Odin actually his father? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't understand it. Morgan Burkhardt on pit lane. That's probably a drive-through for incidents. That will drop the 55 back behind the 61. They had just done battle a little while ago.
Yeah, that's unfortunate after all that hard work.
Yeah, up in the lead, I'll tell you what, Sam Harper has backed it down a lot, and Cody Cosgrove has been on it and has made up some time. It's now 9 seconds back instead of over 11 and a half. But regardless of my optimism, I don't think he's going to have time to get there.
No, definitely not. But I mean, unless Harper makes a mistake, and that's really the big thing. Is if Harper makes a mistake, I think Cosgrove's got a chance. But otherwise, I think that 25 might be too little, too late out of that machine.
Team on team, friendly fire between these two, but again, we haven't seen them really get aggressive with each other just yet. Dainer has just been chipping away at Carwile's advantage here. Definitely not chunking it out. It's 100th after 100th. Using a little more road than Carwile, too.
We actually haven't seen these cars around each other. I think all race pretty much. All three of the BRT cars, they've all been separated throughout the field. These two guys in the top half, while BRT Hemdahl, who's on Burkhardt, coming into the pits for his drive-through, he's been struggling in the back trying to make up time with his teammate Murphy Nichols.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't really been around each other a ton, but this always brings in, I mean, we've seen this with the Astons. It's always fun to watch cars, as you see the headlights flashing. It's always fun to watch cars that are the same team and the same make and model battling together because there's no real advantage. The only difference is the driver, right? Because when you have an Aston versus McLaren, we've seen how those cars interact.
I just see Murphy Nichols in our personal Discord, which if you want to join us in the description, you just put I suck.
Well, you know, some days you suck, some days you don't, and today it's just one of those days. Wow, look at Dainer using every inch of the road. He's getting aggressive now, getting up on the heels of Ryan Carwile, making him check the mirrors.
Yeah, well, he paid $15 for this track. He's going to use up all the track.
Cheaper than the real world, I'll tell you that. Dainer on a line into turn one. Is he going to send it? No, but did Carwile overdrive?
I think he's trying to make him give up some time, but it's going to be tough. It's funny because we've been so used to, like we said, we haven't seen the McLarens really duke it out, so we've seen McLaren versus Aston Martin. And usually the McLaren winning out of that scenario on the straightaways. So you pretty much lose that advantage that they get a slipstream in behind.
They both have the same bullets in the chamber, so who's going to win the gunfight? Both have the same cannon. Both have the same scope.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't blow up in both their faces. That could also be an outcome.
Yeah. Yes, it could. That's the other thing, right? Everyone's got the same brakes. And you're just going to try to outbrake somebody like you're running against the heavier Aston Martin, and that's just not realistic. Coming to 10 laps to go next time by, 18 minutes to go. Sam Harper leads by 8.8 seconds. Cody Cosgrove is still eating into that lead, but the battle for third is the one we're watching. Carwile and Dainer, two Bombshell Racing Team cars going at it for the podium.
And Dainer really good in that first part of the S's, lost a little bit in the middle and come back at the end. Right in behind, fake dive to the inside. It's all going to be that run onto the out of the final corner.
Opens up the door. Carwile left room, but Dainer didn't completely fill the hole on the inside. Climbs up on the curbing.
Yeah, loses that exit. He's not going to be able to make that up.
Same on the brakes again, just separated by half a car length. No one can gain an advantage here. Harper has really slowed down. Mid 155s now compared to Cosgrove's 154.8. But it's still 8.6 seconds. It needs to be more like a second a lap if Cosgrove wants to have a shot at winning this race.
I'm trying to look for Harper. He doesn't really have any lap cars either up ahead that can hamper his progress or potentially give him any sort of damage.
Dainer. A little too much curb. Let's have a look.
Yeah, we've seen already 2 cars wipe out, both of them being Aston Martins.
Yeah, right here. Watch the right rear tire. Drops the right sides over the curbing, and that's really easy to upset the balance of the chassis.
Yeah, I think that's a visual indication, right? That you can see how much more planted the McLaren is coming out of some of these corners compared to the Aston Martin, which is a little bit more on edge.
So also hearing that Colin has 19 incidents, and that might have been the 20th.
Oh.
That would take them square out of this battle for the podium if that was too much.
Oh, yep, he's got a black flag.
Oh, drive-through penalty for Colin Dainer.
He's been a naughty boy.
Well, actually, Kurt Crum was taking responsibility for that. He said, quote, driving like a dum-dum. So that is tough, and here comes Dainer. And that is all Ryan Carwile wanted to see because it's a long ways back to Marc Antonio Federa. That will solidify his podium if he can finish out the rest of this race without going over his own incident limit.
Yeah, well, that's been unfortunate.
Thought we were queuing up to see something real good there in the closing laps.
Yeah.
15 minutes to go, and Sam Harper really slow. Really slow.
Uh-oh. That's
like
no good.
problematically slow.
Let's see what happened then.
Slow down?
Let me check. I'm gonna rewind and try to see what did. It doesn't look like anything immediate though that he went wide or could have got that slow down for. I'm curious. Wonder if he maybe realized he's not gonna fuel. Didn't fuel up enough.
Maybe.
Because like it's kind of weird. I don't think he broke anything.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a battle for the lead here shortly. Cody Cosgrove is closing in. Dangle the carrot in front of Cosgrove, and he's going to take a bite.
Yeah, well, we're talking about him, not making a mistake, whatever it is. We're still trying to figure out what it is. Here comes Cosgrove.
Yeah, this is going to be it for the lead. Here comes the 25, the 99. Slow.
Bizarre.
Is he back on pace now?
I mean, I can't imagine he wanted to reel him back in just to have a fight at the
I
end.
mean, he could have done that. I don't know why. Because
I definitely wouldn't have.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
I mean, if I was his teammate, I would strangle him.
I'm not that competitive, and I still wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it looks like he picked up the pace. There's no way that he did that.
Well, looks like he did. All right, 8 laps to go. 13 minutes. Here we go. Something is. We thought something was amiss. I think he just wanted to drag Cody back into the mix.
He was bored, I guess is what it seemed that it was. He was bored out there leading.
Oh, man, I wish I could be that. Wow, Cody, I think he's driving a little hard now. Don't throw it away, Cody. He's not going to give you a second chance. He's going to make you earn it, I think.
Oh. Ever since he got ago, he's been entering a little bit aggressive, what it seems.
Do I have any more brakes? Yes, I'm going to use them. Sam Harper, again, a gold class driver. He's really battling the 88 for class position, but the 25 for overall. Yeah, Cody's just chucking it in here now.
I mean, he sees the goalpost. He's trying to cross it.
He's pushing the goalpost down the road with his bumper. It could have been a slowdown, but that was 8 seconds that he gave up.
Yeah, that, and also he gave it up over a really long amount of time. I think you only have like 40 seconds, I think, to give it up. So he should have been able to give it up within half a lap. Otherwise, you would have been getting a black flag. So I don't think it was.
Either way, battle for lead is only 7/10.
He conveniently started accelerating back when Cosgrove got up to him. So I don't know.
We'll have to wonder. Coming back to what will be 6 laps to go, 11 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, and half a second between our 2 race leaders. Ooh, Cody throttling down, rotated the rear end out a little early there.
Yeah, I'm curious now what Cosgrove has got to do to try to get past, if he's got anything to do. I mean, we were talking about it, he had some slightly better pace than Harper, but pace is one thing, and then catching is one thing, passing is another.
Well, assuming that Cody's back up to full pace, Cody has kept with Sam Harper 0.3 of a second into turn 3. So hearing that Sam had a sim issue and was getting single-digit frames per second, and that explains a lot.
Yeah, interesting.
That just sounds like iRacing on a normal day for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the iRacing guy trying to give us an interesting race, but whatever caused it, whatever happened, we got a great battle here. Last 6 laps. What Cosgrove is gonna do, we don't know.
iRacing has been messing with my graphics today. I can't even show my other ticker. So we're stuck on the driver ticker because it just wants to freeze. Worked great 2 days ago, so that's awesome.
Don't you just love it when stuff breaks for no reason?
I love it. I'm sure Harper's thinking the same. So coming to 5 to go next time by fitting 0.4 of a second.
And I'm getting even more information too to make it worse. Apparently, Harper's racing in VR, so he was getting 5 frames per second in VR. That's basically nauseating.
He was or is.
It was at 5 seconds. I don't know if he's still getting it. I think it's fixed.
That is making me nauseous just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really bad. If you've never done VR racing, I got to tell you, if you have low FPS, even 30 frames per second, too, it's really bad. You can't focus, and you feel like you do feel like you want to throw up.
All right, 5 laps to go, 9 minutes left, and Cody Cosgrove to the outside in turn 1, side by side for the top spot. Can he cross over Sam Harper, who's dealing with those issues? Harper drops to the inside. Here comes Cosgrove around the outside.
Oh, great run. The run he pretty much needed. Can Harper do anything? Try to switch back and run the outside? It's going to be tough.
Cosgrove got it. Harper had an 11-second lead. We thought it was safe. It was not. Here he comes. No, thought better of it. That was a veteran move there to not jam the nose down the inside. But he can't let Cosgrove drive away with this. Around the outside now.
Yeah, looking at the outside in turn 5, it's a tough thing to do because it definitely benefits to driving the inside lane. Cosgrove officially ahead for now.
Tasting the lead. It's going to be really hard to rip it away from him in the closing moments here.
And it's one of those things, right? In real life, you have engine or car issues. In the sim, you have hardware issues. And for Harper, I imagine he's going to be disappointed because that might have cost him the race.
Harper right behind. 2 car lengths now. Coming to 4 laps to go. Running out of time. And he's losing ground on Cosgrove here.
Yeah, he's losing a little bit here and there every few corners. Losing about a half a car length. Actually looking pretty good through this last sector. Runs a little bit wide.
Slipstream is going to be his friend here.
Cosgrove getting a pretty solid run out of the final corner, setting up purely for that run out of the corner.
Losing some ground. 7 minutes to go. Cody Cosgrove for Drive SVR. Big send from the 99. Cosgrove goes defensive and hangs on.
Surprised that Cosgrove actually turned in towards to try to block him off, even though he was aiming for the inside.
Thought about it again. Couldn't do it. I think Cosgrove is going to be in really good shape if he just keeps constant and doesn't make any mistakes in the final couple minutes. What a turn of events.
Yeah.
Two events in a row we've had late race changes in the lead for wild reasons.
I think we need to have people have hardware issues more often, because it definitely makes everything more interesting when there's some reliability concerns.
Cosgrove driving the rear tires on his Aston Martin. Harper trying to get him to make a mistake to get this lead back. Swings over to the left. Cosgrove doesn't bite.
Yeah, he's not been biting for a lot.
Here he goes!
Mistakes.
Oh!
There was a real lunge up the inside that time, but couldn't get it done. Not enough room.
I don't know if that was a good move or not. I think it cost him more time than it got him. But maybe just hoping that Cosgrove...
Ooh, missed the corner. Then 25 missed the corner. 99 got a bit of a run, not close enough. Ooh, we made him bite on that time.
Harper's still making sure that Cosgrove is working for this one. Not getting it for free. He got 8 seconds for free, but he's not going to get the win for free, too. Understeer for Harper.
Really good, really close this time by.
Good exit, slide for the 25.
Definitely close enough to make a dive. Has a bit of a run. Going to take a look to the inside, now to the outside.
On the brakes, on the binders, into turn 1, 4 laps to go. Harper's going to cross him up on exit. But again, too tight of a corner to really effectively do the over-under here. But turn 3, that's a better opportunity.
There we go. Ooh, fake to the inside.
Oh, they touch!
Oh, contact!
They crash. Harper slams through Cosgrove. Cosgrove back underneath and back to the lead. Headlights flashing.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Sorry. For Harper, he's got to slow down to serve. At the very least. I'm not sure if it's solid black.
Yeah, that was... I'm not really sure who would have put that on there, Finney. That was optimistic on one half and maybe too defensive of a move on the other. But I don't know. That was from a long way back for me. But here they go. They're still going at it.
And Harper staying behind. It's still showing a black flag for Harper, and I'm not sure if this is the slowdown or if he's went over the incident limit. And I'm starting to think he might have been the incident limit.
Could be the incident limit. But if that was the case, why was he driving so hard there, Finney? And that wasn't the place to do it.
I guess he thought he might have been able to get away with it. But yeah, no, that black flag is still there. So I think that's going to be a drive-through for the 99.
If that was a drive-through, that was definitely not a calculated move on Harper's part. I mean, if you are only a couple incident points away from that penalty, you just can't go sailing down the inside like that.
Yeah, and I think he just threw away a podium potentially.
There he goes.
Not a podium, but he definitely threw away second place.
There he goes. Into pit lane. Cody Cosgrove will drive away. 3 laps to go, 4 minutes remaining. And where is Ryan Carwile?
And coming to the final corner right now.
Harper might live to see another day here in a battle for second. Yeah, he might actually hang on to second. That's the advantage that he had from his teammate and himself building that lead earlier in the run. Battle for 5th place, by the way. Aston Martin and PG-13 threat level midnight for P5.
Yeah, solid job for this 2 team. Just kind of keeping it after they had their spin early on lap number 1. Been making up ground ever since. Clawed their way back to 6th place, potentially 5th, again best the Aston Martin machine of Fodera.
Yeah, that was, you're right, a really great climb for what didn't start as a very good day for them. Now, down the hill. 11 seconds is the lead that Cody Cosgrove has over Harper. Coming to 2 laps to go next time by. He actually has time to slow up and make it 1 to go if he'd like. Oh, trouble. The 888's in the wall hard.
Oh,
yeah, that's
and a third one bites the dust.
Yeah, Mark Antonio Federa. That's big damage. That's a DNF. Again, same spot.
Actually, this is a little bit different. He actually lost traction there. He was starting to slide already before he hit the outside curbs.
That corner has claimed 3 separate cars tonight. Yeah, it was a little bit later in the corner exit. Right here. Drops the right rear tire and then unloads the suspension and into the wall. So Aston Martin is out with just 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go now. That's a tough way to end it. So Gowan Racing, Penguin RC out. And now you could add the Aston Martin team car to that mix. The 02 Shifty Sports car also had significant damage. They were able to get their car repaired and returned to the track. But they're down in 11th place, now fighting for position with Chris Sherburne. This is a battle for position. 11th.
See if they can hold off for that. Very close to the brakes.
Just fighting for scraps down here.
Yeah, and actually these guys are closing up on Fodera, who's still parked in the pits, getting his car towed back.
Yes, this will shift to be a battle for 10th. But given the attrition, a top 10 today is nothing more than a consolation, unfortunately. Where is your race leader? Cody Cosgrove. Tell you what, Sam Harper's been reeling him back in, gained about 2.5 seconds back. But yeah, it's going to be a little too late.
I'm honestly sure that's probably just Cosgrove just making sure he doesn't get another incident. I'm not sure if he's close to it, but I think he doesn't want to flirt with that limit at all, especially because he's got a gap to give up.
Well, he's slowed way down, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, just keep it nice and easy in the white lines, and he's got one more circuit to go.
Cody Cosgrove in the 25 has had a very solid night. This 25 car started in 5th, and they were quietly lurking behind the dramas inside the top 5 early. That was catalyzed by the 18 Gowan Racing car. And heading into the second half of the race, Cody Cosgrove jumped in and has subsequently been in the mix for the lead, defended strongly on Sam Harper after Harper had issues. Harper was trying to grab the lead back and just sent it from a little too far back, a little too risky of a move. Ended up grabbing some contact and a penalty. Cosgrove now just going to coast back to the stripe for this one.
Yeah, and also quickly too, looking at the looking at the series standings. These guys are already going to take over the AM championship with just starting this race as their competition that was ahead of them didn't make the start, but with this one definitely will be taking the charge in that category and even might be close to the lead for the overall standings.
Yeah, you have to look at a race like this and look at the previous race as well. We have not had anyone that has started 4th or better win the race. So I think there's something to be said about starting up front and staying there, whereas our winners have come repeatedly from outside of those front 2 rows.
Actually, ironically too, the winner of the Imola race started in 6th, and guess where Cosgrove started?
Yep.
Oh, he actually started in 5th.
5th. Same row, row 3. That's what I was getting at. But the 25 Spark VR car, last couple of corners, Team Rui Pinto and Cody Cosgrove, the silver and bronze combination, started in 5th, stayed behind the chaos in the early going, ahead of the chaos in the late going. Checkered flag waves, and DriveSVR.com LLM Cody Cosgrove and Rui Pinto win MTEC Sprint Series round number 2 from the Hungaroring. And Sam Harper in the number 99 brings home the the NRG built car, paired up with Tom Guest in 2nd place. That is a win that they probably should have, would have, could have had.
Yeah, and then in 3rd place, rounding out your podium, 71 BRT Thor. That's Ryan Carwell, Riley Thompson, going to share that final step of the podium.
Colin Dainer, Cameron Bidwell, Bombshell Racing Team Odin, PG-13 Threat Level Midnight, 4th and 5th. Then Big D Energy, BRT Heimdall. Morgan Burkhardt bringing this car all the way back to 7th place. That is a heck of a drive based on how their race started. Morgan has made up a ton of ground.
Yeah, he's done a really solid job in that machine. I think had they not had a slowdown, they actually might have been able to catch up to the 003, but they had to come in for a drive-through.
So they will come back. This is not for position, so Burkhardt will be in 7th. Matt Chalker and Marc Antonio Federa, this is for position. 8th place, Kinetic Racing and Sustin Martin. Federa repairing that car after the mistake a couple laps ago. Here he comes. Big dive on Chalker.
You're going to easily muscle his way on through. He's still going to probably be disappointed because he could have had a chance at 5th place.
Yeah, not the run that they were looking for. They were really strong in the first 20, 30 minutes of this race and just have slowly slid backwards, add insult to injury with the crash. But 8th place, just a consolation. Chalker 9th, Krishanos 10th. That is your race results. We'll have another look at it here in just a moment. But drivesvr.com, your winner here from the Hungaroring. Let's have a look. NRG Bill 2nd. Bombshell Racing Team Thor in 3rd. And again, an AM car gets it done this time overall. That's a pretty strong run for an AM class entry. Pro-Am 2nd, 4th, and 5th. So 2 AMs, 3 Pro-Ams inside the top 5 finish.
Yeah, really solid showing just from everyone. In fact, the entire first part of the race was still fantastic. The fact that we only had one notable incident, considering how much back and forth was going, was really solid. It was a really solid drive from everyone involved in that part. And then that scrap in the end was pretty good. Fortunate for Harper, but went a little too far past the limit and got bopped for it. But congrats to the 25 for just making their way on through, keeping the car in one piece, out of harm's way, and getting it done.
Down the rest of the order, there's a look at some of the cars and drivers that went out. Gowan Racing in the 18 crashed on the exit of turn number 5. Looks like Penguin RC again without their other car entry. They are going to be down in 14th place.
Yeah, imagine you could have wondered what would have happened with the 0-1 too, because they had a really strong showing, and where they would end up in the midst of things, especially that battle at the end, if they would have been in it or ahead of it or behind it. Unfortunately, we'll never know.
All right, well, we've got our race winner with us, one of the winning members from the DriveSVR.com LLM team, Cody Crosgrove, and we've got Rui Pinto with us from the DriveSVR.com team. Guys, congratulations, you got it done here at the Hungaroring. Unlikely based on a variety of things that happened, but in the first half of the race, you were behind all the chaos. The second half of the race, you appeared to be in front of it. First off, we want to walk through your half of the race, the first half. Take me through what you saw at the windshield, because there was a lot of contact.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I didn't feel confident to launch any sort of lunge or anything of the sort. I was having trouble enough keeping the car on track, avoiding incidents, which in the end actually paid off big time for us in the end, because we finished with 12x or so. I had trouble in, I think when was it the top 6 altogether?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the top 6 that were all in that group.
Right. So I was doing my best to stay away effectively from that kerfuffle up ahead, and I knew one of the McLarens, they had the edge on top speed, so there was no way I was going to get a run to launch an attack on them. I knew the 888 was defending very well. It was not worth it at that point to launch any attack and slow us even further down, especially when in the last 20 or so minutes of my stint, the top 2 just went away. So it was absolutely key to just keep it clean, and if we had an edge on speed, a significant edge on speed, then we would try to launch an attack. If it was like a tenth, give or take a tenth distance, it was just not worth it. So it paid out in the end to just look after the car, look after the incidents, and just give Cody a big margin for error if it was needed.
Well, once Cody jumped in the car, Cody, you were able to kind of keep touch with the front runners. Then we saw the 99 have that issue, Sam Harper dropping into your clutches. We were trying to figure out what was going on. I'm sure you were as well. Once he got by, though, things got a little, as Calvin Fish would say, argy-bargy with Sam making contact with you. Take us through your second half of the race and that battle for the lead.
As soon as I got the car from Rui, I was, to be honest, I was a little shaky at first, and as soon as the laps started clicking and started get my flow, and yeah, as soon as because I knew I was catching Sam, and I knew I was a little bit faster than him, but and then all of a sudden he just crashed or spun or whatever, and then yeah, started to get a little urgy, like you were saying.
Well, it certainly worked out for you. You guys are going to pick up a win in the MTEC Sprint Series, so congratulations. As you look forward to the next round in a couple of weeks' time, how confident do you feel that you could repeat this at Winton Motor Raceway on July 9th?
Well, if me and Rui keep going as we are and we keep practicing like we do, like a couple times a week, and I think we have a pretty good shot at getting another overall.
Well, guys, congratulations. A strong run tonight, getting it done here in the MTEC Sprint Series for the DriveSVR.com LLM team. Guys, congratulations. We'll see you in about a month on July 9th at Winton Motor Raceway.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Finney, wrapping things up here today. 2-hour race, moments of chaos, moments of quiet. But at the end of the day, it was the 25 that outlasted everybody, and that was probably by the least dramatic means possible. They kept their bumpers out of everyone else, and that worked out well for them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's pretty much exactly what the 0-1 did last time out at Imola. Pretty much similar story, just be quiet, got their head down, ran a clean race, ran some solid laps, and while it wasn't the most flashy win, it was a win nonetheless. So just a solid job for them, and just taking advantage of, other teams running to either technical issues or, going over the incident limit or, just getting involved in other incidents. So they just kept their car clean, kept everything good, and ended up on top.
That's it for SimTV's coverage of the MTEC Sprint Series round number 2. July 9th is round number 3 from Winton Motor Raceway in Australia. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna bringing you the action. We'll see you next month.